free mobile apps. Make Onside Radio your favorite station, and you can listen, with your headphones while you take a jog or take a walk, or, you play us through your phone in the car, connect your car to your speakers through Bluetooth, and you can rock and roll with us here on Onside Radio all day long. And it sounds a lot better through your speakers, quite frankly, than staticky AM radio. It sounds a lot better. So we're with you till 3 hours today. This is going to be a very well-rounded show, okay? We're definitely going to talk plenty of Dolphins, Heat basketball. Yeah, they beat Houston last night. Plenty of Florida Panthers hockey. You just heard the highlights. We're also going to talk some boxing with former heavyweight champ Andy Ruiz, who's going to join us. He's got a fight against Chris Arreola on pay-per-view on May 1st. So, we had to move Ruiz around a little bit because he can't call us until he's done with his media workout today, and he can't start his until Canelo is done with his. And you know how it can go when you're a big diva like Canelo. Maybe you start a little bit late, you end a little bit late. So we're going to talk with Mr. Ruiz at 3:15, but it's looking like it's going to be a little bit later. I think 4:40 p.m. I think is now what we're targeting to talk with boxing's own Andy Ruiz. 4 o'clock hour is going to be busy, man. 4:20 God, I don't even know. What the hell time are we talking with? Let's see if we can do
4:22 for Jeremy Tash.
4:22 for Jeremy Taché. You got to hit the accent on the E, man. Jeremy Taché is going to join us at 4:22 today. Andy Ruiz hopefully at 4:40. In the 5 o'clock hour, we're going to talk about the life and apparent death of the European Super League with Nima Tavale Rudsari, a dear friend of mine who's an excellent soccer journalist who's been all over this Super League story since it was first announced, and he even was covering it over the last couple of years before it was announced, because this was something that they were working on for years, only for it to last about 48 hours. Tito, would you like to hear my theory on European Super League, my conspiracy theory? Okay, so the fact that these clubs are apparently backing down so quickly because it was officially announced on Sunday night, and 48 hours later, we've heard reports today that Chelsea is dropping out, Tito's Manchester City are dropping out, Atletico Madrid, I'd heard, were dropping out, and then you get a report today that the Super League membership, the 12 teams that are members of Super League, are going to hold, all 12 teams are going to hold an emergency meeting tonight, and the thinking is they're going to disband it. So it's within 48 hours, it came and went. Now, over the last couple of days, since the European Super League was announced, and you can understand the grievances that fans have against it, okay? This projected Super League where all the 12 teams, just for joining, would be handed 425 million euros. And then, of course, you get a big portion of TV revenue and ticket sales. So this was going to make a lot of rich clubs even richer than they were already. And it was going to widen the wealth gap between some of the richest clubs in the world and the less rich clubs. So there's a fear of even more competitive imbalance, because there already is some competitive imbalance in soccer. Because the Premier League, I give them credit. The Premier League is pretty balanced. When you look at the French league, I know Lille has had a good season, but in recent history, it's been all PSG. You look at the Spanish league, it's been 3 teams at the top. You look at the Italian league, Juventus had a run of 9 straight titles, and 3 teams in Serie A have won 95% of the championships in that league. So there wasn't a whole lot of competitive balance anyway, and then the Super League theoretically would make that competitive imbalance even wider. Then you will look at the Super League competition itself. It would feel less competitive than UEFA Champions League, since most of the teams in Super League are guaranteed their spot every year, so you don't have to earn it based on merit. You don't have to qualify. You're in it every year. And then, of course, something that a lot of fans were complaining about, which I think was a little bit overstated, because this idea that, hey, when a team like Chelsea faces a team like Real Madrid, that feels like a really special matchup in Champions League, because you only see it maybe once in every several years, and if they're in the Super League together, they're playing each other all the time. It feels less special. Personally, I'm a fan of the idea of the best playing the best on a regular basis. I think that complaint was a little bit overstated, but a lot of people were bitching and moaning about that, okay? And then if you think about the teams that are involved in Super League, if they were still involved with their domestic leagues, which was the plan, you wouldn't have exciting races for top 4 per se, because, you think about in the big European leagues, the top 4 qualify for Champions League. But then if, 3 to 6 of those teams are already guaranteed entry into Super League every year, it takes some of the magic away from that. So for the last 48 hours, fans of various European clubs have been protesting. They've been marching on their stadiums. They have been demanding that this Super League has been disbanded, and it's actually looking like they're getting their wish, because it sounds to me, if you read the tea leaves over the last hour and a half, it sounds to me like they're going to pull the plug on the European Super League tonight. And a lot of people are happy about that. Here's the strange thing about this. Did you see something new? Breaking news.
Soccer related. Not Super League. Ed Woodward has resigned as Manchester United chairman, and
I wonder if that is Super League related.
Manchester United, yeah.
Maybe he's resigning in disgrace.
Yeah, and apparently Manchester United fans are very happy about this. So.
They hate him, dude.
Yeah, they must have hated him. Interesting.
United fans.
Ed Woodward resigning.
They hate Ed
United.
Woodward. Manchester United fans, they hate Ed Woodward. They would love nothing more than the Glazers to sell the club. The terrible American ownership group that only cares about turning a profit and not, really about doing right by their fans. So, yeah, that is big news. And, you said unrelated to Super League. I doubt that. I think that it might be related to that, because I'm sure that Ed Woodward was an instrumental figure in Manchester United joining Super League in the first place. So maybe now that Super League is apparently falling apart, he might be resigning in disgrace. And you know what? If that's true, if his resignation does have anything to do with the Super League debacle, that might be disproving the conspiracy theory that I'm about to give to you, okay? Hear me out. The 12 clubs that announced their joining of the Super League 2 days ago, okay? We know that these clubs are pissed, and I think rightfully so, pissed at the governing body, UEFA. They're corrupt, historically corrupt. They, when they put on Champions League, they hold back a ton of the revenue to distribute amongst themselves, and there's no transparency. We don't know how much money the president and the executives of UEFA are actually pocketing. We have no clue, right? So they might be holding on to like 70, 80% of the Champions League revenue just to line their own pockets. Plus, you've heard so many stories over the years, proven stories, about executives at FIFA and UEFA accepting bribes under the table and, doling out punishments unfairly and inconsistently. So UEFA is disgusting. Like, UEFA is a disgusting, bloated, fat, bureaucratic mess. And I think UEFA needs to be, if not destroyed, it needs to be reformed, okay? So you look at these 12 teams that came together to form the Super League, and supposedly they all signed these ironclad agreements with JP Morgan, who's funding the operation, or were going to fund the operation. You also had reports about the streaming service DAZN, some people call it. It's supposed to be pronounced DAZN, but it looks like DAZN. That DAZN was going to pay 3.5 billion euros annually for the TV rights, which is just absolutely gigantic. And so we were led to believe that the 12 teams who joined this, and they all announced that they were joining this league, that they couldn't turn back, that it was ironclad. Like, they signed these agreements, they had a TV deal that was going to be in place, and it was too late to back out. Once they announced it, it was too late to back out. And so it only took 2 days and some fans complaining about it, and now reportedly they're all backing out. It doesn't seem real to me. Like, it doesn't seem right to me. And one of the theories that people, myself included, had brought forth from day one when the Super League was announced was, is this a bluff? Is this 12 powerful clubs coming together and saying, we want to fight UEFA because we should be receiving a bigger piece of the pie, we should be receiving more revenue, these guys are screwing us over, these guys are holding back, we're not, capable of spreading our wings and profiting the way that we should be because the system does not allow us to, so we need to rebel against that system. And I had wondered if these 12 clubs coming together was really a high-stakes game of chicken in saying that, hey, we're going to tell UEFA enough is enough. And if you don't get your shit together, we're out the door. We're no longer going to be governed by you. We're going to govern each other and govern ourselves, and we're going to split the revenue, and we're going to completely cut you out, right? This is like in Breaking Bad when Gustavo Fring decided, I don't want to share my profits with Don Eladio anymore. So I'm going to go down to his mansion. I'm going to poison him and all of his people. Spoiler alert, sorry, I ruined Breaking Bad for you. And I'm going to cut him out. That's what these clubs were trying to do with UEFA. So obviously for 36 hours or so, it was looking like they were legitimately trying to form this Super League. I just feel like the speed by which they're backing away from it, and this supposedly ironclad agreement that they had with J.P. Morgan to fund it. J.P. Morgan, you don't mess with them, okay? So if that was real, it's hard for me to imagine that, you know, if they had agreed to receive all this funding and a giant institution like J.P. Morgan was going to back them, that they can just all of a sudden decide, just kidding, we're going to tear up the agreement, we're going to pretend this never happened. I'm wondering if this wasn't just a massive power play for these clubs to try and get UEFA to give them a bigger chunk of the pie or to reform. And so I'm wondering if that comes next. Am I crazy, Tito, that to me, it's so suspicious how quickly this Super League has just imploded, and I find it hard to believe that they're just 48 hours later going to decide, you know what, a lot of people are complaining about this, so we're just not going to do it. I think there's more to this story.
Yeah, to me, this kind of feels something along the lines of what you were just saying, which is this was a moment of inflection and critique of UEFA and FIFA, right? Like, this is an opportunity for the teams to kind of just let them know. And look, they folded. It seems like this Super League is just obviously not going to happen, and I want to say I stood in the paint and said that I didn't think it was going to happen.
Yeah, you did.
But to the point you're making, this is kind of time for people to analyze the relationship between UEFA, FIFA, and the rest of the soccer world, right? Like, they have constantly gotten away with being shady, with being lazy, and with trotting out a product that isn't really fair to the top clubs in soccer, the Cities, the Uniteds, the Bayern Munichs, the Barcelonas, the Real Madrids, the Inter Milans, the Juventuses, all of those clubs, they put forth the players, they put forth the content, they put forth all the performances, and UEFA and FIFA continue to sit there and reel in a bunch of overhead and spread it amongst all these bottom-tier clubs that don't really put in the same amount of performance that these top clubs do,
right?
Like you're saying. So I think this was kind of like, I don't know, it's the machine learning, right? To compare it to a movie, it's like the machine is starting to learn how the game is played, and if UEFA and FIFA don't clean up their act, and I'll say this, I don't think there's really, hope that they will, right? Like, this is like asking the government to be honest with you. Like, the reality is they're just going to continue to do what they do.
They're just going to tell different lies.
Right. They're going to tell different lies, and they're going to peddle the same thing, that they need the money and that they've, X amount of losses and due to the COVID pandemic. But like you said, Donno, these clubs are also losing, right? Like Inter Milan and Juventus and even Manchester City, and all everybody ever talks about Manchester City, all the oil money. Manchester City went into debt.
Yeah,
they announced losses.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a point in this, a P&R, right? A point of no return, and these clubs finally sticking up for themselves and saying, hey, this needs to be addressed. You guys saw what we can do. We didn't fall through with it because obviously you guys were going to punish us, but this is something notable.
I want to make a strong declaration here, and I want fans of the 12 clubs who were going to be in the Super League. And again, it's looking like Super League is not going to happen. It sounds to me like this is going up in flames, and the final nail will be in the coffin tonight. I think Super League it's about to be canceled, okay? So, and obviously there's different forms of outrage, right? Some of the people who were outraged by Super League were outraged by it because they support clubs who weren't invited to it. And so, oh my God, the rich are going to get richer. We're going to be left behind. I understand that. I can also understand even fans of clubs that were going to be in Super League thought, you know what, I enjoy the competition of Champions League, and now you're taking that away because it's going to be the same, 15 teams plus 5 guests every year. You don't have to qualify. Like, this is not real competition. It's not real soccer. So I can understand why, even from fans of clubs who are going to be in Super League and get all that extra money, I can respect and understand the outrage even from those fans. But I do want to make a strong declaration to fans of the 12 clubs that were going to be in it. Understand that, like Tito just said, even some of the biggest clubs in the world, Manchester City, Barcelona, their balance sheet is upside down right now. Juventus, their balance sheet is in a bad way. The club that I love, Inter Milan, they have serious debt that was accelerated due to the pandemic, and the pandemic affected these clubs more so than you think. Like, a lot of people just assume, well, hey, listen, I cheer for a team like, I cheer for Real Madrid or I cheer for Liverpool. There's never financial trouble. They're just printing money. No, these clubs do have financial trouble and financial challenges that were accelerated and made a lot worse by COVID-19, okay? So if you rooted for one of those clubs, if you cheer for one of those clubs, and you were desperate for them to pull out of Super League, which apparently everyone's pulling out of it now, so it's not going to happen, that's great. I'm happy for you. I'm happy that you were loud, you were vocal, you wanted to make your opinion known. I hate Super League, so that's all fine and dandy. But now, don't turn around and complain this summer when budgets are tight in the transfer window, because I hear all of you obnoxious footy Twitter people, the Manchester United fans, we can sign everybody. 80 million transfer fee, 120 million euro transfer, we can afford everybody. The reality is a lot of these clubs can't be affording to make moves like that. So if you were anti-Super League, if your club was going to be one of those teams that could get a license to print money because there was going to be a ton of money in Super League, if your team was going to be in it and you were against it, that's great. But then don't complain this summer if you can't afford massive transfer fees, and if, God forbid, you might even be forced to sell a player you love to finance some of your debt. So don't bitch and moan. Be consistent. If you didn't want to be in Super League, fine. I respect that. But then don't be yelling at the top of your lungs on Twitter this summer when your club isn't shelling out the 150 million euro transfer fee that you wanted to bring a certain player to your club. Let's be consistent with it. All right. Got a lot. Go ahead.
I just wanted to with your last comment there, side-eye directly to Barcelona fans, right?
Yeah,
like
because if they don't sign everybody, they're going to complain.
Ass in debt, and they're a club that always seems to be mentioned with these big-name transfers. Obviously, Erling Haaland seems to be the one that comes most to mind. But when you talk about it, like Donno, you want to talk about having money to spend on those big-time players. This would have been the financial move that Barcelona needed to get out of the shitstorm that they're in.
Yep, because the money that these teams were going to receive in Super League would have been a magic wand wiping away their debt. Would have wiped away their debt. So keep in mind, you don't have that magic wand anymore, man. 844-416-8123 if you want to get in. Going to talk about victories last night for the Panthers and for the Miami Heat when we come back. Remember, we have Terrible Take Tuesday coming up later this hour as well. You're listening to the only locally owned sports station in South Florida. We are OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Listen to OnsideRadio.com anywhere by downloading the MyTuner Radio app in your app store. Or go to MyTunerRadio.com on your web browser. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida sports leader. When you need your warehouse looking good while staying efficient, there's only one place to find the finest racks in the business. Pallet Rack City in Hialeah. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547. Pallet Rack City is the company you need when you want your warehouse sporting the finest racks in the business. After all, who doesn't love a great rack? Pallet Rack City. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547. At OnsideRadio.com, we chirp all day and night. It's time to do some more chirping with David Dwork at our Chirping the Cats report.
The Panthers kept pace for first place in the Central Division, taking down the Columbus Blue Jackets last night by the score of 4-2. Frank Petrano stayed hot, scoring twice and getting off a game-high 7 shots on goal. Trade deadline acquisition Sam Bennett continued to fit right in with his new squad. He scored a goal last night, giving him 3 points in his first 2 games as a Panther. The Cats and Blue Jackets will get right back at it, closing out the second half of their back-to-back set tonight at the BB&T Center. The big news heading into tonight's game is Panthers' top goaltending prospect Spencer Knight will make his NHL debut between the pipes for Florida. The 20-year-old was selected in the first round of the 2019 NHL Draft and has been stellar since then, playing for Boston College in the NCAA ranks and for Team USA internationally. Florida enters today's games tied with the Carolina Hurricanes for first place in the Central Division. The Hurricanes are also wrapping up a back-to-back tonight. They're in Tampa. As it stands, Florida and Carolina are ahead of Tampa by 1 point in the Central Division standings.
Keep up with the latest on the Florida Panthers by subscribing on most platforms by searching Onside Radio, your home for South Florida sports.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
This Saturday, Inter Miami CF visits the Philadelphia Union at Subaru Park.
And now Higuain trying to bend his run it behind. Flag is temporarily stayed down. Higuain is in at the square with Robinson. He'll square. Robbie Robinson has opened the scoring. The flag is stayed down. And Inter Miami are off and running in 2021. They lead the LA Galaxy by a goal to nil.
Join OnSideRadio.com as we broadcast live from Dangerous Minds Brewing Company in Pompano. Our pregame broadcast watch party starts at 7 p.m. Game time is 8 p.m. Listen to all the games by going to our website at OnSideRadio.com and download any of our apps. Follow Inter Miami CF all year long on your home for football. OnSideRadio.com. You're listening to OnSideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnSideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
With Make-A-Wish, the impossible becomes possible. A girl battling cancer can become a race car driver battling the course. The boy showing all the nurses his fire trucks can take the helm of a real one. Wishes can give kids with critical illnesses the strength to keep fighting, get better, and grow up.
Where there's a wish, there's a way.
Wishes need you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
So broadcasting live here, as we do every single day, at Drive Pink Stadium in Fort Lauderdale, the home of Inter Miami CF. Man, I feel bad. One of our listeners on board on the text line, he's a big Inter Miami fan. He missed the show yesterday. He's tuning in today. Dude, we talked a lot of Inter Miami yesterday. Hope you went back and listened to the podcast. On the road this weekend, 8 o'clock Saturday night against Philly. We're going to have our road rally at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company in Pompano Beach. Big O and I are going to be out there for the entire game. We're going to have the pregame show live at 7 p.m. before the 8 o'clock kickoff. We're going to have the halftime show, the postgame show live out there. So we go live an hour before the game. We're on until an hour after the game. So it's going to be great. And our guys, Kai Chen Chisholm and Austin Robillard, are going to stop by as well because they do part of the postgame report with us. So even when Inter Miami are on the road, you can still watch the game and hopefully this weekend celebrate a victory with us because, man, I want to knock down one of those Dangerous Minds brews after the game. Apparently, O and I are going to be broadcasting right next to the beer tanks, which is perfect. I'm going to be swimming in that goddamn beer tank if they win that game. I'm going to be celebrating in the tank, so I cannot wait for that. I'll tell you, my friends, a beautiful sight. I'm looking out into to Drive Pink Stadium, and I see those pink, black, gray, and white seats. But another beautiful sight. I'm looking at the NHL standings. Florida Panthers once again tied in points atop the Central Division. This team is for real. They beat the Blue Jackets 4-2 last night. Panthers tied now in points. They have played 2 more games, I believe, than Carolina, but they're tied in points at 63 atop the division. They're 1 point above Tampa Bay, who have 62 points. So we're going to compete for this thing until the very end. Now, the Panthers are going to be a playoff team. Make no mistake about it. They're a virtual lock for the postseason. But I want to win the division. Because if you win the division, you get to go up against the fourth-place team in the first round, which means you get to avoid Tampa Bay and Carolina in the opening round. I know what some of you are going to say. Hey, don't have a loser mentality. Does it matter when we face those teams? Because we're going to have to get through Tampa or Carolina to win the East anyway. Does it matter if you face them in the first round or the second round? I get what you're saying, and maybe like if you were talking about a team like the Big Three Miami Heat, I would say, you know what, I don't care who you face in the first round, second round. You're going to have to get through all these teams to win a championship anyway. Like I could understand saying that for like a proven powerhouse franchise that's won multiple titles, and hey, you want to face the best of the best in every round of the playoffs. But for me with the Panthers, and obviously if you're going to be a real contender to win the Stanley Cup, you're going to have to take out Tampa, Carolina, or maybe both, depending on how things shake out in the postseason bracket, in order to hoist the Stanley Cup. But when you're talking about a team that hasn't won a playoff series since 1996, there are steps to this, guys. There are steps to learning how to win because, you know, the vast majority of the players on the Florida Panthers haven't won anything significant in the NHL. You know, when you think about the core, people like Barkov and Huberdeau, and I'll say Aaron Ekblad, even though I don't know when he's going to be able to come back from his injury, but it's possible he could be back at some point in the playoffs. So, you know, the core of this team has not experienced Stanley Cup playoff success, and I do believe that getting as far as possible in the postseason this year, getting over the mental hurdle of winning a series, because these core players, they've been in the playoffs a couple of times. A few years ago, they had a 7-game series against the New York Islanders, very competitive, a lot of overtime games. They lost it in 6. Last year, they had a 5-game playoff series against the New York Islanders. They lost to the Islanders in that series as well. So they've been in the playoffs, but this core has not had any playoff success. So I would like to see them have in the first round the easiest possible matchup, because it would be massive for that club, for their fans, for everyone in South Florida to be able to celebrate winning at least one playoff series. I know the party doesn't really start until you're talking about winning the East and getting into the Stanley Cup, but still, man, it would be an important hurdle for this team to clear to get a playoff series victory, and so I'd like them to have the easiest possible road at least into the second round. But what a performance yesterday by Frank the Tank Vatrano. He actually got the opening goal yesterday. Usually Frank Vatrano is the guy who's tying it up or taking the lead in the third period. So Mr. Clutch actually opened things up yesterday. Beautiful goal halfway into the first period, his 16th of the season. Panthers also got one by Sam Bennett the opening minute of the second period. Sam Bennett, since coming to Florida, has been an absolute revelation. Like, this guy has been on a heater. He had 2 assists the other day, scores his first goal in a Panthers uniform yesterday. He has looked absolutely wonderful since putting on the Panthers uniform. And whenever I can watch my guy, the Butcher, Radko Gudas, who got his second of the season, he gave the Panthers the 3-1 lead. When I can watch the Butcher score what turned out to be the game-winning goal in that hockey game, I am always proud and I'm always happy, because he's one of my favorite players on the Florida Panthers. And you also got a second goal of the night for Frank Vatrano, which was an empty netter to seal things late for the 4-2 Florida Panthers win. So the Panthers were able to get the big win over Sergei Bobrovsky's former club. Hey, listen, I like going up against Columbus Blue Jackets. You know, I spend a little time there in Columbus. After I leave Soviet Russia, I spend some time in Columbus. I stop a few shots. I have a few beer. Now I come down to Miami, eh? So I always love seeing Bob do some work in net against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Miami Heat were also victorious yesterday, but you know what? NBA-wise, Tito, I can only say much about the Heat right now, so much, because I'm looking at what Steph Curry is doing this year for the Golden State Warriors.
Unbelievable.
He's from another freaking planet, Steph.
And I love it because, like, ever so often there's, like, these little Twitter threads and polls about, like, oh, why Kyrie's the best point guard? Oh, why Dame Lillard is the best. Steph Curry is slamming the door shut on that conversation. He's the best point guard the NBA has seen in the last 15 years, and it's not even close.
You know what is really surprising to me, and I didn't even realize it until you hear about this streak that he's on. I mean, he scored 49 points yesterday, humiliated younger brother. Like, he was going up against Seth Curry. Basically, it was like, what do you call it when you kill a sibling? Sibling aside? Like, what is there a word for that? Brother side?
Let me double check.
I don't know. Like, I got to know if there's a word for like murdering a sibling, because that's basically what Steph Curry did to Seth Curry. It was humiliation what he did to Seth Curry. 49 points. He hit, 10 3-pointers yesterday? Yeah, 10 3-pointers in that victory. And Steph Curry became the first player in NBA history, 33 years or old. Fratricide is killing a brother? Fratricide. That makes sense. Fratello's brother in Italian. That makes sense. Fratricide. Fraternity. Fratello. Yeah, fratricide. He committed fratricide last night. Like, I mean, Del Curry and what's his mother's name? Sonia? I think Sonia and Del Curry. When they watch that game, like, are they happy for Steph, or are they like, why did you have to humiliate your kid brother like that? Like as a parent, how do you feel about that? I only have one child, so I can't relate to that sort of a feeling. So Curry, he passes Kobe Bryant, who I guess had done this 10 straight times. First player in NBA history, 33 or older, with 11 straight 30-plus point games. The real revelation here was, it kind of makes me feel old to know that Steph Curry is already 33. I think it might be because Curry still has the face of like a 19-year-old. Like, he looks so youthful. Like, you don't think about, oh, Steph Curry, he's a grown-ass man. Like, I kind of feel like Steph Curry should be Tyler Hero's age. Like, not Steph Curry. I mean, obviously, I know he's been around for a while. He's won multiple MVPs. He's won a bunch of championships. But still, man, it makes me feel kind of old to know that Steph Curry is 33. How am I only 3 years older than Steph Curry? I feel like I was, already like a grown-ass man when this guy was playing at Davidson. It's so strange. 844-416-8123. Terrible Take Tuesday is coming up next here on Onside Radio. Hey, get the brutal honesty every day. You've been getting it for over 30 years from Big O, Orlando Alzagari, on the Onside Zone, noon to 3 p.m. every day right here on OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Listen to every Inter-Miami CF match on your home for La Rosa Negra, OnsideRadio.com. Catch us every day on the MyTuner Radio app. If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
The sport is headed in a direction where it's going to die because the fan base is dying. It's people my age or older that follow baseball. And we're dying. And so they're not getting any of the new fans. Young fans, the whole sport is all screwed up, dude. From the cheating scandals to the way they mismanage it, by the way, the way it has not gone and changed with modern times, the fact that baseball players are so freaking ignorant that they don't understand that they've got to market their own game. The wussiest thing in the world is, you hit a home run on me, so now I'm going to plunk you. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
The Onside Zone with Big O, weekdays 11 to 1 p.m., only on OnsideRadio.com.
Join the Inter-Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
Parents, we know we can't protect our kids from everything. Eventually, they're going to bump their heads or scrape their knees. But we can protect them from 6 types of cancer. HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a common, preventable virus that can cause cancer later in life. The HPV vaccine prevents human papillomavirus and all the cancers it can cause. The American Cancer Society recommends getting your sons and daughters the HPV vaccine starting at age 9 to protect them later in life.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
Miami Heat getting the win over the Houston Rockets yesterday, 113-91. Kendrick Nunn with a 30-piece for the Rockets. Heat's next game is Wednesday. They take on San Antonio in San Antonio. Tip-off slated for 8:30 p.m. Florida Panthers winning their second in a row, this time a 4-2 victory over Columbus. They'll match up against Columbus again tonight. Puck drop slated for 7 p.m. Rookie goalie night in between the pipes for the Panthers. And the Miami Dolphins have signed 11-year veteran DJ Fluker. Fluker has started 59 games during his NFL career, has experience both at the guard and tackle position. With your Onside Sports Update, I'm Tito Bonacci. Coming up next, it's more of the man of the match with Alex Donno right here on OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Welcome back into Man of the Match here on Onside Radio. Alex Donno with you. Tito Bonacci riding shotgun, running the wheels of steel. He's going to give way in about 20 minutes for Alex Aguirre, who takes over from 4 to 6. I'm kind of worried seeing like the gray skies out there. It's probably going to start raining at 5:59, and I leave at 6. Oh, I do not want to be battling rain on the way home. I do not. That would be truly terrible. You know what else is terrible? It's time, my friends, for my favorite segment every week. Tuesday is my favorite day of the week. We collect some of the worst possible takes, sports takes, food takes, entertainment, pop culture. We compile them for a magical segment we like to call Terrible Take Tuesday.
One idiot with a platform.
How stupid are you?
You're a moron!
Anybody can say anything these days. This is Terrible Take Tuesday.
Hey, pal. You just blowing from Stupid Town?
And hey, Terrible Take Tuesday is now brought to you by Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurant in Pompano Beach. I love that spot, man. I'm so happy to have these guys aboard. They've got the brats, the Wiener Schnitzel, the homemade potato pancakes, pretzels with mustard, and lots of German beer. I could knock down a Das Boot right now. You get all this and more at Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurant in Pompano Beach. I love these guys. And Matt, the owner of Checkers, he's a big Canes fan, a big Florida Panthers fan, and he's a great dude. So check them out at Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurant in Pompano Beach. Now, they may be sponsoring Terrible Take Tuesday, but there is nothing terrible about Checkers Old Munchin. That place is absolutely fantastic, man. So the first terrible take, this now looks even worse than it would have otherwise, because with the European Super League looking like it's already dead, it crashed and burned 2 days after it was announced, the Real Madrid president, Florentino Perez, who was also the Super League president, he addressed the media yesterday. And he gave his whole rundown about why Super League has to happen and how necessary it is. And it's crazy because Florentino Perez gave a truly terrible take within everything he said. Now, actually, he said some things yesterday that I thought made some sense, but then some things that made no sense. Listen to this quote from Florentino Perez. Kids play with video games and find football matches, football being soccer, of course. Kids play video games and find football matches too long. We need to evolve. We need to change. If kids say that the games are too long, maybe we have to cut the length of games. I don't know. That might be the most absurd idea I've ever heard. So basically, the president of European Super League was entertaining the idea of turning an actual soccer match into a quick match on FIFA. You know how, Tito, when you're playing FIFA, you don't actually, unless you're a lunatic, you don't actually play 90 minutes. It's like an accelerated game. It takes like 20, 25 minutes to get through a game on FIFA. So Florentino Perez's logic was, I see all the kids playing video games these days, and oh my God, when they play FIFA, they're not playing a full 90 minutes, so maybe they don't have the attention span to watch 90 minutes.
Oh my God.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I mean, first of all, I watch a ton of sports, a ton of different sports. And soccer is actually more condensed than most, because the on-the-field time, when you factor in added time, it's probably like 95, 96 minutes of total game time. There are no TV timeouts during the game. You just get one 15-minute halftime, and then straight through for 45 minutes before halftime, straight through 45 minutes plus added time after that. Soccer is already a really condensed sport when it comes to TV viewing. And you've got this moron talking about how, maybe 90 minutes is too long. Maybe, what was he going to do? Make the games 20 minutes long like a game of FIFA? It's one of the worst takes I've ever heard. He wanted to turn actual soccer games into vines. Let's condense them down to 6 seconds. Absolute awful, awful, terrible take. And you know what? With a Mensa candidate like Florentino Perez behind it, maybe I shouldn't be that surprised that the European Super League lasted for all of 48 hours. Absolutely absurd. Oh, if the kids say that the games are too long, maybe we have to cut the length of games. I don't know. Oh, my God. All right, so the next terrible take. This is a food take, and it's a food take from a supposed draft expert. I got to tell you, after hearing this take, it really makes me question Mel Kiper Jr.'s credibility in any walk of life. When you have a food take like this, how can I take your mock draft seriously? How can I take your analysis of the top prospects seriously? This is actually a worse take than a week ago when he said the Dolphins might trade up from number 6 to number 4. This is somehow worse than that. Mel Kiper Jr. tweeted out a few days back, and I've heard him say this before, so this wasn't new to me. Have you heard what Mel Kiper Jr. does to his pizza? He says, remember, get the pizza with cheese, then take the cheese off and add the mashed potatoes. Give it a shot. So Mel Kiper puts mashed potatoes on his pizza. People in Italy have been executed for less.
It's frustrating as hell.
Yeah.
The idea of it. I don't even want to picture it.
It sounds like combining shepherd's pie and pizza. It sounds horrific. If I told a few of my Italian Goomba buddies about this, Kiper would be sleeping with the fishes. You'd never find him again. I'm nice, so I'm not going to call out a hit because I don't believe in that sort of thing. But for Mel Kiper to say mashed potato, you take the cheese off the pizza and you cover it in mashed potatoes. Oh, that is awful. Tito, you got anything?
I do. This is courtesy of Space City. It should have been called SpaceCityScoop.com, which is a fan-sided Rockets website. And they decided to put out an article last week with the title, Yes, Rockets' Raphael Stone fleeced Pat Riley in the Victor Oladipo trade.
Oh, no.
And here's their reaction. To sum it up, their article is, it's clear the Rockets landed the best player in the trade, and Olynyk is sure to cost less than Oladipo this summer as well, to add insult to injury. But although the Heat have appeared to have gotten the short end of the stick in the trade, to health concern, they seem to have secured a small victory while the Rockets prepare for an upcoming rebuild that might be better. Okay, there's so many things wrong with this logic.
Should never have been written.
This article should never have been written. Whoever wrote this, I'm going to go ahead and look up this person's name. Anthony Duckett. All right, yeah, that sounds about right. Anthony Duckett.
You should replace the D with an F, and that's
right.
That's who he is.
This is the reality of that trade is the Rockets ended up trading James Harden for Kelly Olynyk, Avery Bradley, and a quite the war chest of draft picks, right? The draft picks is what's obviously the most appetizing part of that deal, but that's assuming that the Nets' big three flutters out within the next 3 years, because if it doesn't and they stick long term, those picks are meaningless. They're garbage. They're nothing. Okay, but they still ended up losing in that deal. You got nothing in return for James Harden. You lost. This is like if someone who got cheated on and then divorced with their partner is making fun of someone who broke up with their girlfriend. Like, this makes no sense whatsoever. I award you no points, Anthony Duckett, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Jeez, that's so bad. Wow. So those were some truly terrible takes, brought to you by Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurant in Pompano Beach. Brats, Wiener Schnitzel, homemade potato pancakes, pretzels with mustard, and lots of German beer. You get all this and more at Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurant in Pompano Beach. You know, that might have been almost as bad as Mel Kiper putting mashed potatoes on pizza. Is that something you would ever entertain,
No.
Tito? Like,
No,
would
no,
you
no,
ever
don't
say,
do
hey,
that.
let me give this a shot?
Nope.
What's the craziest thing you've ever had on pizza?
I would say, like, eggs. I've had eggs on pizza.
So have I. Yeah,
It's not as bad as people would make it out.
Yeah, it's not my preference.
Still not natural, though.
That's actually, it's not uncommon in Italy. I've seen that on pizza, like a fried egg on a pizza. That's authentic. Like, there are certain pizza toppings that people do. Like, you'll never find a barbecued chicken pizza in Italy. You'll never find, like, people do, like, cheeseburger pizza. Get the bleep out of here. You're not going to find that in the motherland. You can actually get fried egg, though, on a pizza in Italy. That's not a crazy thing. I think maybe one of the weirdest things, I was at this, many years ago, I was at this pizzeria in Italy, and it was like they were famous for their variety. Like, they had, like, probably 300 different toppings combinations. And so my problem is, if you give me a pizza shop with a menu that has 300 different topping combinations, I'm going to do something a little off the wall. Like, it's inevitable. Like, I'm not just going to say, oh, let me get, like, the regular margherita or like, prosciutto. Like, I'm going to get something crazy. So I
stick with regular pep, man.
Well, you can't really get that in Italy. You could say maybe spicy salami would be the closest thing you can get. But no, I got a pizza. I think it had, like, a bunch of different meats on it. Like, it was a very carnivorous thing. But one of them was, like, German Würstel, like the German sausage, and it did not go with pizza. Like, I tried it and I'm just like, you know what? I love both of these things. Like, I love the German sausage. It was a really well-made actual pizza, so I wished I had just gotten a more basic pizza because the German sausage on it did not really do it any favors, man. All right, we'll wrap up the 3 o'clock hour when we come back here on Onside Radio. Want to get into our roundtable question for the day, which is Miami Heat related. Hey, Heat and NBA fans, you can catch Ira Winderman here exclusively at OnsideRadio.com with our Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat reports. Catch Ira throughout the week at OnsideRadio.com, and when news breaks, basketball fans know Onside Radio is the place you get the insight you need.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk. You can connect with us at OnsideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnsideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
Wasn't there another boy band like 98 Degrees or 99
American
degrees?
pop and R&B vocal group consisting of 4 vocalists.
It is
Jeff Timmons, brothers Nick and Drew Lachey, and Justin. Yeah, Nick Lachey, that's right.
Nick Lachey. So it was 98 Degrees, right? There you go. How about that? Did you know I was the boy band expert, by the way?
Onside Zone with a Big O from 12 noon to 3 p.m. every weekday on OnsideRadio.com.
At Baptist Health, we are ready.
To serve. To treat.
To safely proceed with your procedure.
We're ready for ER visits and office visits.
With skilled surgeons,
advanced medicine,
and multidisciplinary teams.
We're ready for new arrivals
and new recoveries.
We are ready.
We're ready to diagnose, treat, and manage
anything that comes our way
with exceptional care and comfort.
With the same preparedness and compassion you've come to expect from Baptist Health.
And we are ready.
We're ready.
We're ready
to care for you.
Can I get a captain?
Captain and what?
Captain and Ginger.
I can't hear you.
Captain and Ginger.
He was a captain and Ginger. Captain and Ginger. He was a captain and Ginger.
Captain Morgan, official partner of Major League Soccer.
Big O for M&S Air Conditioning. You know, air quality in your home and business is more important than ever. That's why you've got to call M&S Air Conditioning and let them install a high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit. Folks, it attracts, captures, and destroys biological contaminants to improve your air quality. With stellar customer service, answering your call from 7:30 a.m. till 9 o'clock p.m. For more info on high-efficiency air filters and their preventative maintenance plans, visit M&S Air Conditioning at ac-florida.com.
You're listening to this station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world.
When you're looking to add that extra style and protection for your home or business, visit A Shade Above Window Fashions in Davie or Sunrise, where plantation shutters are a major part of our business, and they look great in any home. We have them in white, stained colors, and wood tones. We can even motorize your shutters like the one in the OnSideRadio.com studio. A Shade Above Window Fashions, 954-434-4774. That's 954-434-4774. Love the space you live in. A Shade Above Window Fashions.
You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, they beat a terrible team last night, but I was still impressed with the Heat. No Butler, no Bam, no Tyler Hero, and they still cruised against, one of the worst teams in the NBA. Rockets, I think, have the second worst record in the league. Now, the Heat, 4 nights ago, lost to the team with the worst record in the league in Minnesota. So last night was not a gimme, especially without 3 of your most important players. Let's tackle the roundtable question for today. You know how it works, guys, hopefully by now with the roundtable. All of the hosts dive into this topic. Toast in the morning, Kai, and then Big O in the midday, me in the afternoon. We give you our opinion, and then at the end of the day, Alex Aguirre makes a master cut, and he posts it on the podcast page, and you can listen to all of us weigh in on the roundtable. Today, now that we're a year removed from his play and hype, are you now concerned Tyler Hero may not hit the ceiling some expected? I'm not concerned. I'm not surprised. Like I didn't expect him to reach the ceiling that some expected, because to me, the expectations for Tyler Hero coming out of his rookie year, especially his exploits in the bubble where he was especially good, got to be so astronomical. I know that they always say dreams are free. Dare to dream. But the projections people have for Tyler Hero, and the way that I quantify it is this. You think about all the players the Miami Heat could have brought in trades within the past year, notably James Harden being one of them. And every time trade rumors came up, you saw the way that Heat fans reacted to the idea of trading the beautiful boy Tyler Hero, and everyone's up in arms, okay? Tyler, when he's on, can be an incredible three-point shooter, is athletic, capable of creating his own shot. So there's a lot to like there. He's also good looking, very marketable, very engaged off the court to the point where he might actually be concerning people within the Miami Heat organization that he's going a little bit too Hollywood. We talked about that yesterday. But with Tyler Hero, honestly, like I'm not concerned that he won't reach the ceiling some expected. I was never expecting it. Like, Tyler can be a nice player. He's never going to be a perennial all-star. Like, Tyler Hero is never going to be the second best and maybe not even the third best player on a championship caliber team. I look at him as being an excellent six-man, okay? I want him to achieve more consistency this year because I think that was maybe expected of him in year number 2. I'm concerned about the fact that people within the organization are concerned about him being too distracted off the court. I hope that he can take the advice of people like Udonis Haslem, Jimmy Butler. I don't know how many chats he has with Pat Riley, but if they can make this young man understand that before you go too crazy off the court, you have to really prove something on the court. I think that could do Tyler Hero a lot of good. Where are you on this, Tito, as far as Tyler Hero? Are you concerned that he won't reach those massive expectations? Because to me, I think a lot of the expectations were way too high.
Right, yeah, I'm also with you there. I kind of felt like, whatever you thought Tyler was last year, he's probably actually a tier below just because it felt like all of our rookies last year, Duncan, Nunn, and Tyler, were kind of shooting above their heads, especially inside the bubble. As far as Tyler goes, look, do I think he can grow into a rotational starter? Potentially. Do I think he can grow into a top 25 player in the league? I don't think that, right? Like, I think Tyler is somewhere in between the third or fourth best player on the team and probably one of the best sixth man in the league, right? And, like, that's fair. That's probably about his ceiling, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, Reminder that he got him at what, pick 14, I think it was? Is that why he wears number 14? I think something like that. So for the Heat, it's kind of like, look, you did probably as well as you could have with that pick. He played above his head, and it had Heat fans thinking that he might be a top 3, top 5 guy. I don't think he's that. I think he's more in line with, like we said, or like Ira has said, probably one of the better sixth mans in the league. Yeah. Is that someone that the Heat, want to cash strap themselves to for the next 5-6 years? I don't know. I'm not the one that has to make that decision, and I personally wouldn't, but that's just me.
Huge shout out, by the way, to everyone in the YouTube chat. I hadn't really shouted that out today. If you want to watch us live on YouTube, search for Onside Radio, hit the watch live button, and make sure when you're in there, you smash the thumbs up, the like button. Smash the like button because that really helps us out. It pumps out the algorithm, all that good stuff. So I'll shout everybody out when we come back. It's starting to get lively in there. 4 o'clock hour coming your way next. Hey, start your morning every day, 8 a.m. with Toasted Sports. Toast covers all the local sports stories while providing some great Miami Hurricanes insight. Download, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Toasted Sports, 8 to 10 a.m. only at OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to the home of Inter Miami CF.
His strike is a decent one. It's fired into the top right corner. Gonzalo Higuain opens his account for Inter Miami.
OnsideRadio.com, where the passion for La Rosa Negra runs deep. You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. OnsideRadio.com knows gamers need a home.
Can you dig it?
That's why for the next 60 seconds,
Can you count, suckers?
here's your Onside Radio E-Report with Kai Chen Chisholm.
Congratulations are in order for streamer and now the new 100 Thieves content creator Kaide, as she becomes their first international streaming star. The streamer, who does stream exclusively on Twitch, becomes the first international star for 100 Thieves, as she is from Canada. The 19-year-old, who is still in school, will be a part of the content creation side. And they like her personality and the community she built, and they said that she strives to create a better space for women in gaming. and that they're excited to have her a part of 100 Thieves. Though mainly positive, one of the things that has been noticed by some has been the reference of her being just Tenz's girlfriend, Tenz of course who plays for Sentinels, and not just saying Kaede, who is a Twitch streamer. She has been given some credit by some outlets such as Dixerto in the headlines just being named as Tenz's girlfriend. Congratulations are in order to Kaede as she does become the first international content creator for 100 Thieves.
Stay in touch in the world of gaming with the Onside Radio E Report. You're listening to this station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, 4 o'clock hour of Man of the Match on Onside Radio. Alex Donno with you guys until 6 o'clock tonight. 2 more hours. Busy 4 o'clock hour coming up. 4:20. We'll definitely be joined by Jeremy Taché from Bally Sports, Florida. We'll talk some Miami Heat, maybe a little Miami Marlins with Jeremy. 4:40. We are expected. I say expected because the situation is fluid, but I think at 4:40. Former heavyweight champ Andy Ruiz Jr. is going to join us. Yeah, the guy who beat Anthony Joshua. He's going to be fighting Chris Arreola on May 1st on pay-per-view. He's, we had to move it around a little bit today because he can't join us until after his media workout, and they had to push it back. So we've had to bear with him a little bit, but I think 4:40 is going to work today. 5:20. I had booked this interview with a very good friend of mine and an excellent journalist. Yesterday, I booked this interview thinking we were going to celebrate the launch of the very capitalist European Super League. But it looks like the communists have won. It looks like can you imagine a world where instead of knocking down the Berlin Wall, like they built one between Dade and Broward County? Like the communists won here. The European Super League has apparently fizzled out, and it may be dissolved completely as quickly as tonight. But we're going to get the real story because, whether or not the European Super League is really done or if there's any life left in it, Nima Tavale Rudsari is going to give us a scoop on that. He's going to join us, and I always appreciate his time, especially since it's going to be pretty late at night where he is. He's out of Sweden, so he's going to join us via Skype at about 5:20 to talk about the potential very quick death of the European Super League. So stay tuned for that. Shout out to everyone in the chat. We got our guys Herman, Ray. I love how Ray always says howdy to you, Ray. Rafa in Miami, NorCal Dolphin. Bromar Smelly is with us. Welcome aboard, everyone. NorCal Dolphin said, Alex, I got the munchies times 10. I wonder why on a day like 4:20. I wonder where the munchies came from. Okay, he says I've got the munchies. He's loving the food talk that we had last segment. I've never had a fried egg on my burger, but I'm trying that next week with my Finn Bros. Okay, good for you. Oh, and we were talking about weird toppings on pizza. Bromar says, I had anchovies on my pizza today. Is that okay? Yeah, I think it's fine. I'm not a fan of it, but
no,
anchovies are actually they're a traditional pizza topping. But I don't like Tito. For me, I won't eat a fish that small because like everything's in there. Like people eat the heads. I think of sometimes of anchovies. It's like especially the ones like in Italy. Like in Italy, it's a big thing when you go to seaside towns and. In Italy, most towns are seaside because it's a very narrow peninsula. So seafood is very popular over there. And like I enjoy some of it, like the fried calamari is really good. A lot of the fish you get over there is excellent. But a very popular item over in Italy are like miniature fish, like the size of sardines that are deep fried with the head and everything in there. I can't do it, man. I can't eat a fish head. I don't want to look at a fish head. I don't want to look at it in the eyes. I want to pretend that I'm just eating a mass of meat that, didn't used to belong to like a living thing. And I'm no vegan. You know that. Like I'm very much a carnivore. But if I had to like kill my own cattle, I may not be a carnivore still. Like I prefer to take an out of sight, out of mind approach with it. It's a very 21st century thing, the way that I live my life. So, yeah, to answer your question, I've got no problem with anchovies on pizza because it's a reasonable traditional topping. I just personally I don't like it. I can't eat it. Bromar Smelly says pineapple goes well with ham. NorCal Dolphin said pineapple with pepperoni on pizza is awesome. It could be the munchies talking though. I think it is the munchies. Like, I mean, you know where I stand. Pineapple on pizza, it's a sacrilege. Like there were people in the Middle Ages that were like that were banished and exiled for less than that. Like I remember one time I was in Florence and I went to the house where Machiavelli was exiled, and I'm pretty sure, I may be a little bit fuzzy on my history, but I'm pretty sure Machiavelli was exiled from the city of Florence and forced under house arrest for the remainder of his life because he put pineapple on pizza. Like again, my history might be a little bit off. I might have been asleep that semester, but I'm pretty sure Machiavelli got exiled. Galileo, the same thing. Like Galileo was exiled for wanting to put pineapple on his pizza. They do not take kindly to that. Rosendo is in the chat. Oh, by the way, pretty soon it's going to be 420 on 420. How about that? So welcome, Rosendo, and everyone else in the chat room here today. 844-416-8123 is how you get at us on the text line. That's 844-416-8123. Marla writes in, gross. That's gross. Well, what are you talking? Like, what part was gross? I didn't see the exact moment when your text came in. The anchovies thing, Machiavelli putting pineapples on his pizza. Explain to me what was gross because I don't know. I don't know exactly what you were referencing there. There's a lot of noise yesterday from a report by Ian Rappaport that the Dolphins are receiving offers for their number 6 overall pick, that there are teams looking to trade up to number 6. This has really caused a lively response, okay? A lot of Dolphin fans are freaking out. Oh, my God, is Chris Grier shopping the pick? Oh, man, I loved being at number 6. I thought it was a great move. You traded down to 12. You collected more first-round picks. You used one of those to move back up to number 6. This is the perfect spot. We might be able to get Pitts or Jamar Chase. Like, oh, I want to stay at number 6. So people are collectively flipping out because you're getting the idea now that Chris Grier is going to move down from number 6. Not so fast, my friends, okay? Ian Rappaport, yeah, he's reporting that the Dolphins are receiving offers for the number 6 overall pick. He didn't say they're going to do it. He never said Chris Grier is shopping the pick. He's saying teams are inquiring about the pick. So back off the ledge for a second. Obviously, if it were to unfold this way, I think there is a serious condition. All right, how desperate is a team going to be getting here? Like if Chris Grier can take advantage of someone the way that he took advantage of Bill O'Brien a couple of years ago in the Laramie Tunsil trade, if there's always a sucker at the table, and we've learned Chris Grier is never the sucker. There's a sucker at every table. If you don't know who the sucker is, you're the sucker. But I guarantee you, Chris Grier is not the sucker. Like Chris Grier, what he's really excelled at as the Dolphins general manager, and I'm only really talking about the last 3 years when he's been the guy in charge, because prior to that, he was always answering to somebody. He never had full control. He's got full control now. Chris Grier, as the sheriff, has always had an incredible knack of taking advantage of the desperation of others when he pulls off trades and when he swings deals. So Grier he's not the desperate one here. Chris Grier is not saying, oh, you know what? Yeah, we've got the 6th pick, but I want to acquire as many assets as possible. Like, okay, if that was the case, you would have stayed at number 12. Like, I don't see why Grier would be desperate to make a move again. With that said, it's not impossible, okay? I thought our friend Kyle Krabs at DolphinsWire.com put out a pretty interesting scenario. So even if the Dolphins are receiving calls now, and the draft is 9 days away, the first round. So even if he's receiving calls and feelers right now, I wouldn't expect Greer to really consider doing anything with that 6th overall pick until draft night. You want to see how things play out, okay? If there's a scenario where this would kind of be the doomsday scenario for the Dolphins, because this would be Murphy's Law. If the Atlanta Falcons at number 4 were to select Kyle Pitts, because that might happen, right? If Atlanta decides we're not in the quarterback market, and I don't think they are, guys, because of Matt Ryan's deal that they restructured, they're locked in there for a couple more years. So I think they're going to want to maximize the talent around Matt Ryan, not draft his replacement yet. So I think Atlanta is locked in on something other than quarterback. They might go Penei Sewell, and that'd be fine. But then again, if they go Penei, then Cincinnati has taken one of the players that you like. So let's say there's a scenario where Atlanta were to take Kyle Pitts, and then Cincinnati decides instead of taking Penei, they take Jamar Chase because, hey, Jamar Chase is a dynamic player, and that's Joe Burrow's bro. They played together and had great success together at LSU a couple of years ago. So in that scenario, the Dolphins are there at number 6, and the 2 players that they probably covet most are off the board. Then maybe you have a team, because, by the way, in that case, you've still got some good quarterbacks on the board, right? Because you probably still have, Trey Lance on the board, either Mac Jones or Justin Fields. I find it hard to believe that Justin Fields is not going to go number 3 to San Francisco, but a lot of reporters think Mac Jones is going number 3. So can you imagine if the number 6 overall pick comes up and the Dolphins are sitting there not wanting a quarterback, but yet Justin Fields and Trey Lance are on the table? You're going to be getting calls from teams who want a quarterback, and teams that may have already called you, and then they call you for a second time. So at that point, yeah, the Dolphins might decide, hey, we really liked 2 players at this spot. Both of those players are off the board, and there's more quarterbacks on the board at number 6 than we thought. We're getting calls from desperate teams. Maybe then you do the deal, and maybe then you can really fleece a team and get back like an extra, multiple first-round picks for that. So, yeah, I don't think it's impossible. If you're asking me what I want, even if Pitts and Chase were both off the board, at number 6, I think I'd like to stay there and draft Jalen Waddle. Now, this is where it becomes a chess match, okay, because you don't know what spot you're trading down to. So if you're only trading down a couple of spots, 2, 3, 4 spots, maybe like Carolina decides, oh, we have to get up to number 6 right now. Then if you're only trading down a few spots, then maybe you could say, oh, Waddle might still be there anyway. But I don't know, man. I really, really like Jalen Waddle, and I think he can fit this. I don't like him as much as Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts, but I wouldn't want to miss out on that opportunity. I really, really wouldn't. I really wouldn't, man. Oh, yeah, Bromar, I love it. He says, hit the like button for our guy Donno. Yeah, everybody in here, hit the smash that thumbs up button so we can pump out that algorithm. Rosendo says, good afternoon, Donno and Onside Radio family. We hate communism. Yeah, that's right. We allowed communism to win in soccer. They took away our beautiful Super League. Oh, and Alex, I know you're not a hardcore soccer fan, but you've probably seen a lot of headlines and heard a lot of stuff the last couple of days about Super League, right? Because it's impossible to avoid.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I've seen a lot of it. And like you said, there's a lot of, mixed feelings. A lot of people feel one way about it. I really can't give my input on it because I'm not too familiar with what's going on with the situation. I just know that it's pissing off a lot of people. But I've been reading your comments on the 5 Reasons Sports chat, kind of, educating myself on the situation. And I do see it as a way, as kind of like an outlet for teams that are struggling because they got hit really hard during the pandemic.
Yeah, they did.
So it just depends how you view it. At the end of the day, I really can't say who's getting really screwed over here because I'm not too familiar with it. But if it's gonna improve soccer in the long run, then I'm for it.
I think it's dead, unfortunately. I think it's dying a very, very quick death. But hey, if there's anybody who can tell us for sure whether it's dead or not, Nima Tavale Rutsuri, who's going to join us in the 5 o'clock hour, is going to give us the full scoop because I was exchanging a lot of messages with him yesterday, and he really seemed to think that it was pretty much set in stone. So I think it's pretty surprising to a lot of people that it's falling apart 24 hours after we were having that conversation. 844-416-8123. 844-416-8123. Oh, Marla clarified, by the way, what was gross. Heads on the anchovies. It is gross. I don't like it. And Alex, I assume, I don't know a lot about you. I assume you're not a vegan. You eat meat, but I don't like to eat anything where I can see the head.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of anchovies in general, especially the head on the piece. Yeah, no, I'm good. I've never had it, and I've made it this far, and I'm not gonna have it now.
I respect the fish too much to eat its head. I have too much respect for it. I don't have enough respect for it not to eat it, but I have too much respect for it to eat its head. Hey, every day, by the way, Jeremy Taché is going to join us coming up next. I just want to let you guys know. Every day at Onside Radio, our hosts sit down at the round table to tackle the most important local or national sports headlines. The round table is podcasted daily. Search Onside Radio on all platforms. Subscribe, rate, and review to listen to all kinds of station segments. OnsideRadio.com is the home for South Florida sports.
We'll be right back to the man of the match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can connect with us at OnsideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnsideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Get the brutal honesty every day with the Onside Zone with a big O from 12 noon to 3 p.m. every weekday on your home for sports talk in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com.
Hey Panthers fans, Dave Dwork here with some awesome news. Every Saturday, I'm going to bring you the latest on everything to do with the Florida Panthers with Chirping the Cats Radio. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., we'll dive into the state of the team, recap games, and hear from past and present Panthers players, and plenty of other great hockey guests too. Got questions about the Panthers? Call or text the show and we'll break it down. Don't miss Chirping the Cats Radio, Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m. only on OnsideRadio.com.
This Saturday, Inter Miami CF visits the Philadelphia Union at Subaru Park.
And now Higuain trying to bend his run it behind. Flag is temporarily stayed down. Higuain is in at the square with Robinson. No square. Robbie Robinson has opened the scoring. The flag is stayed down. And Inter Miami are off and running in 2021. They lead the LA Galaxy by a goal to nil.
Join OnsideRadio.com as we broadcast live from Dangerous Minds Brewing Company in Pompano. Our pregame broadcast watch party starts at 7 p.m. Game time is 8 p.m. Listen to all the games by going to our website at OnsideRadio.com and download any of our apps. Follow Inter Miami CF all year long on your home for football. OnsideRadio.com.
Big O for M&S Air Conditioning. You know, air quality in your home and business is more important than ever. That's why you've got to call M&S Air Conditioning and let them install a high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit. Folks, it attracts, captures, and destroys biological contaminants to improve your air quality. With stellar customer service, answering your call from 7:30 a.m. till 9 o'clock p.m. For more info on high-efficiency air filters and their preventative maintenance plans, visit M&S Air Conditioning at ac-florida.com.
Fish fans, time to reel in the latest news in baseball with OnsideRadio.com's Marlins Minute. Here's Alex Aguirre.
Happy birthday to skipper John Mattingly. Miami's manager turned 60 today. With a day off yesterday, the Miami Marlins were able to evaluate and examine the injury Starling Marte suffered in his 9th inning at-bat on Sunday. After an MRI, Marte will be sidelined for at least a few games with a broken left rib. The MRI revealed a non-displaced fracture, the Marlins said. Marte will refrain from activity for 5 to 7 days before being evaluated, and he's expected to go on the injured list. Expect players like John Birdie, Magnier Sierra, or Monte Harrison patrolling center field for the next week. The Marlins are back in action today for some interleague play as they host the Baltimore Orioles at Lone Depot Park for a quick 2-game series. Dating back to their first matchup in 1997, the Marlins are 26-8 against Baltimore. The Marlins will be rolling out Nick Neidert to face former Mets All-Star Matt Harvey. First pitch is at 6:40. Let's go Fish.
Keep up with the latest on the Miami Marlins by subscribing on most platforms by searching Onside Radio.
ADHD. It's the child who can't pay attention or sit still in school, right? The answer may be yes. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, can be complicated and it can last a lifetime. Living with a condition can sometimes be a challenge. It may take years to accept a formal diagnosis, and it's not always easy to find the right treatment plan. Did you know that up to 75% of children and adolescents with ADHD have at least one additional mental health condition that also requires a comprehensive approach to treatment? ADHD guidelines were recently updated to reflect the need to screen for associated disorders. Be sure to talk with your child's doctor about proper screening and visit moretoadhd.com for additional information. That's moretoadhd.com. This message has been brought to you in partnership with ADA, ACO, and CHAD.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yes, we always love chatting with our next guest, the host of Breakfast at Jeremy's. Valley Sports Florida's own Jeremy Taché joins us here on Onside Radio. Good afternoon, Jeremy. How you been, sir?
I've been good. You know, I like that intro. That's the first time I've ever been introduced as the host of Breakfast at Jeremy, so I like that.
Do a great job with it. In real life, because obviously Breakfast at Jeremy's is an excellent video series, but when Jeremy Taché wakes up in the morning, what is your go-to breakfast, and are you a big coffee guy?
Oh, so first of all, huge coffee guy,
Yes.
and ironically didn't become a coffee guy until after college, which now seems counterproductive. I don't know how I survived college without ever drinking coffee. Big coffee guy, and then honestly for me, my go-to is a bagel. I'm a Jewish guy. I was raised in South Florida. It might as well have been New York. Bagel is my go-to.
That's absolutely solid. So, Jeremy, I enjoyed last night, and I know the Heat were taking on one of the worst teams in the NBA. I get that, but still, not too long ago, they lost to the worst team in the league. And then last night against Houston, no Jimmy Butler, no Bam Adebayo, who hit that big game winner on Sunday, no Tyler Hero, and they still, relatively easily got past the Houston Rockets. What were your big takeaways from last night? Because obviously for the Heat in this seeding battle, every win is important.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaways are, there's a reliability with Duncan Robinson now where he's sort of out of whatever that funk was offensively up until the trade deadline. Basically, since the trade deadline, he's been as good as he's been at any point in his career. He's been that efficient, whether Bam and Jimmy are in the lineup or now when Bam and Jimmy are out of the lineup. And that's something you couldn't necessarily say, number one, earlier this season, but even last season. He didn't necessarily play all that well when there wasn't sort of a bigger distraction offensively. And then Kendrick Nunn's ability to respond, just to be there as a reliable piece for the Heat. His play's been up and down. When it comes to the playoffs, if everybody's healthy, I don't know that he'll even be in the rotation. But having a guy to know that when you do have Goran Dragic, who, is getting up there, he looked great on the second night of back-to-backs, but hasn't necessarily had his legs underneath him all season. Victor Oladipo obviously is dealing with injury issues. So to know you have a reliable guy that's really your fifth guard is pretty special and important come playoff time when it comes to depth.
There's been a lot of frustration in the regular season for this team. Not to make excuses, but I will say that early in the season, there were a lot of games where guys missed games due to COVID and contact tracing, and then in the more recent months of the season, you've had a ton of guys out due to injury, and Victor Oladipo's status has been unclear in recent weeks. So I think I can definitely talk myself out of some of the negativity, knowing how inconsistent the lineup has been. So let's say, Jeremy, this team gets into the playoffs and they are blessed with the full complements of health. Like if Goran Dragic can stay healthy, if Victor Oladipo can get healthy, and you've got a healthy Jimmy and a healthy Bam and a healthy Tyler. I mean, how do you think this team can fare against some of the elites of the East?
Well, I think the irony is that we saw basically a game and a half's worth of this team healthy, and they looked like one of the best defensive teams ever in that little spurt, right? So when you see some of the contributions that are now starting to shape up offensively, where Trevor Ariza starting to look like a competent offensive player on top of his shutdown defense, rounding into form. Kendrick Nunn looking more consistent off the bench. Andre Iguodala looking as healthy as he's looked in a Heat uniform. He was terrific last night. And then you add all the other complementary pieces. If they are at 100% full strength, they have the defensive ability to stick with any of these teams. Their defense will keep them in games because of their ability to force turnovers. And even when they're facing a three-headed monster in Brooklyn, per se, right? If you have Victor Oladipo able to guard, if you have Jimmy Butler able to guard, if you have Trevor Ariza and Andre Iguodala and Bam Adebayo, and all of these guys are so versatile, it makes it pretty tough for even the greatest offensive teams to beat you come playoff time. So I think if they have their full complement of players, there's no reason to change expectations from what they were at the start of the season, which is getting right back to an NBA Finals.
Wow, I like it. We're joined here by Jeremy Taché from Bally Sports, Florida. You know, Jeremy, and listen, I can completely, understand what some of the reasons might be, but as a South Florida kid, is it a little bit tough to see Dwayne Wade, part owner now of the Utah Jazz? Because it doesn't feel right, man.
Yeah, it's pretty strange, but honestly, this is what's kind of cool about Dwayne Wade is that while he has fully embraced over the last, almost 20 years now, right? Embraced South Florida. It's also cool because he's kind of like our son out there doing things in the world. He's always been sort of the global guy. He was, in the prime of his career, he was so popular in China. He still is.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, he'll just sort of head out toward the West Coast and do something else and impart the Heat wisdom on the Jazz culture. And so when inevitably they win, we can take credit. That's pretty much how it feels.
So shifting over to baseball, because I really respect your Marlins knowledge, and I'm starting to come around on this team, Jeremy. I mean, in their last two series, they take 3 of 4 from the Braves, they take 2 or 3 from the Giants, and they did get shut out 1-0 by the Giants last time out. But aside from that, we've been seeing the bats coming alive also recently, and we know the starting pitching is very formidable. So. I've got I don't necessarily advise this, but I do have an acquaintance that told me before the season started that he was betting his pension on the Marlins to win a World Series. Again, I don't know if that's advisable, but I will say I'm starting to come around on this team, man. What has impressed you most lately?
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's been really impressive with the Marlins to see their bats turn things around after what was such a really dreadful start to the season for them. But I will say something that is such a downer on the positivity that we have from those last couple of series is Starling Marte now out of the lineup due to what they're talking about is a rib issue, but we'll sort of see what happens there. And, I worry that if that's an extended period of time that Starling Marte misses, it's really going to affect this lineup. He is their best player. And it's not really particularly close in terms of just being a complete player. But that being said, we've seen the contributions coming from all across the roster, right? Jazz Chisholm stepping up and turning into what seems to be one of those young phenoms that comes up and hits right away. I mean, he's one of 10 guys in the league who's barreled the ball up as much as he has, and his OPS is outstanding. And, Adam Duvall's rounding into form, so you're starting to see the veterans contribute as well. So with that starting pitching, if Lewis Brinson can give them something here in center field, he's not going to duplicate what Starling Marte is. But if he can give them something, and they can find a way to even maybe platoon him with Magneuris Sierra or John Birdie, I think this team can continue to sort of stick around in the NL East, especially as the rest of these teams beat each other up.
I always love talking to this dude, Jeremy Taché. And Jeremy, I'm almost done with season 3 of Schitt's Creek, and I'm really enjoying it, man. You were my motivation to get into it.
I am so happy to hear that. I cannot wait to hear what you think when you finish the show. It's the greatest. We'll have a full episode about it.
We sure will, man. So have a great week, everyone. You want to make sure you follow him at Jeremy Taché on Twitter and check out Breakfast at Jeremy's. He does excellent breakdowns the day after some of the big games in South Florida sports. Have a great one, man. We'll talk again.
Thanks, man. Love talking to you.
Really good stuff there from Jeremy. 844-416-8123 if you want to get in via the text line. That's 844-416-8123. So we're going to have a lot of fun the rest of the way. I think – let me see if I've gotten any sort of confirmation. Oh, man. So I don't think Andy Ruiz is going to make it. All right. So I think we're going to try and reschedule for later in the week. So, yeah, my apologies. It's one of those things where when you've got a boxer preparing for a fight.
Busy guy. So, yeah, I'm told they won't be able to make it by 4:40. We'll owe you one for Friday or for next week. I'm going to say no problem. I totally understand. Dude, I remember, and this is fine. I remember one of the most disappointing things when you try to deal with fighter schedules. So, Alex, I had like 10 years ago, or maybe even longer, 10 or 11 years ago, I had an interview scheduled. And this was at the height of his MMA career and the height of his fame. I had an interview scheduled with Brock Lesnar.
Wow.
And this was when he was the heavyweight champ. This was when Brock was the
guy.
biggest thing on earth, right?
Yeah.
And I had an interview scheduled with Brock Lesnar. And it's like, I hosted a show in the evening at the time, and I had to come in like in the late morning to do this. Like my show wasn't starting at that point. Like I was doing very late night. I was on at like 10 o'clock at night, and I had to go in because I didn't have the ability. I didn't have like home equipment or anything, so I had to like go into the station to record with Brock Lesnar at like 11 a.m. And then I get a call at 10:55 a.m. Hey, just so you know, and this is probably PR speak for we can't find him, but they won't tell you that, right? Like the PR person's not going to tell you, hey, we have no idea where he is. The PR person's like, oh, just so you know, we're running a little bit late. Do you mind maybe hanging out a little bit? Maybe we'll try and get you, Brock, like 15, 20 minutes later. So I say, sure, no problem. 20 minutes later, hey, like we're a little bit behind schedule with Brock. Do you think he might be able to wait till noon? Yeah, I'm already here, whatever, no problem. And then like finally 1 p.m. rolls around. And the PR person admits to me, Lesnar's kind of a recluse. He lives basically on like a ranch in Canada, and he doesn't really get much cell service up there. And they can't find him. Like they're trying to get him on through his cell phone. He's not picking up. Like they could not locate Brock Lesnar. So I was so excited because I thought, I'm going to be able to interview Brock Lesnar. I got here super early, and I get a little bit jerked around for a couple of hours. And listen, I don't blame the PR people because like they really thought, hey, any minute we're gonna have Brock Lesnar on the phone. But it was just one of those things. Like sometimes when you have to deal with the live schedules of prize fighters that are preparing for fights and all that sometimes it just doesn't work out the way you want it when you want it. So hopefully we can track down Andy Ruiz because he's got a great story. We were talking the other day about Rocky III. Andy Ruiz has a Rocky III-like story because after he knocked out Anthony Joshua a couple summers ago, he got very high on his own supply. Now, there are a lot of fighters out there you've heard about over the years, like the Mike Tysons, who fall into vices of illicit drugs. For Andy Ruiz, the vices are desserts. Like he's a man after my own heart. It's like, you know what? If I were to get super rich and famous, I'm not going to overdose on heroin. I'm going to overdose on double stuffed Oreos. That's essentially what Andy Ruiz did. Like after Andy Ruiz, he knocks out Anthony Joshua. He's on top of the world, and he celebrates by basically eating everything. He's already, he used to be a pretty heavy guy. We all know that if you follow Andy Ruiz, and his weakness are the sweets. And so, instead of turning to drugs or alcohol, he turns to cheesecake and Oreos, and he got very out of shape. He got
dominated by Joshua in the rematch, and he reached a crossroads. Like he decided, I don't want to be like a guy who's known for one fight. I don't want to be a has-been. I want to start a new chapter in my career. I want to start my career over again. And the guy looks pretty good now. Like if you've seen the recent videos of Ruiz training, he's down to, which for him is a pretty svelte 255 pounds. He wants to get down maybe for his next fight closer to like 235. So he actually looks like a guy who takes care of his body. He looks like a completely different fighter now. And I think it's a really great story because, his life could have gone in a couple of different directions after the reality check of the second Joshua fight. And it was really a wake-up call for him. So hopefully we can track him down and talk to him this week. Oh man, a lot of draft scenarios being bantied about on the YouTube chat. We'll get into it when we come back because hey, we're only 9 days away from the first round of the NFL draft, my friends. We're only 9 days away, and that reminds me, Miami Dolphins fans can join us for our OnSideRadio.com NFL draft party at Sports Grill in Miami at 11481 Southwest 40th Street. That's Bird Road. Join Big O and myself for this 2-night event starting on Thursday, April 29th at 7:30 p.m. and then Friday, which will be day 2, at 6:30 p.m. Drink and food specials, giveaways, and the best damn draft party in South Florida. Join us for a 2-night event as OnSideRadio.com and Sports Grill and Bird Road bring you the best NFL draft party on the planet.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can connect with us at OnSideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnSideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. This Saturday, Inter Miami CF visits the Philadelphia Union at Subaru Park.
And now Higuain trying to bend his run in behind. Flag is temporarily stayed down. Higuain is in. At the square with Robinson. No square. Robbie Robinson has opened the scoring. The flag is stayed down. And Inter Miami are off and running in 2021. They lead the LA Galaxy by a goal to nil.
Join OnSideRadio.com as we broadcast live from Dangerous Minds Brewing Company in Pompano. Our pregame broadcast watch party starts at 7 p.m. Game time is 8 p.m. Listen to all the games by going to our website at OnSideRadio.com and download any of our apps. Follow Inter Miami CF all year long on your home for football. OnSideRadio.com.
There are those who dedicate themselves to a sense of honor, to a life of courage, and a commitment to something greater than themselves. They have always defended this nation and each other. They still do. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Inter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com. Hey everybody, it's Good Greek Moving and Storage, and for over 2 decades, they've been entrusted to handle all of your moving and storage needs. And now, Good Greek is the official mover of Inter Miami CF. And if Inter Miami trusts the Good Greek, you should too. For the best move ever, whether it's across town or across the country, go to GreekMoving.com. That's GreekMoving.com for Good Greek Moving and Storage, the official movers of your Inter Miami CF.
Riddle me this. With all this sizzling meat and crunchy veggies nestled between toasty flatbread, who should get credit for Papa John's new papadilla? The person who invented pizza or the person who invented folding? Well, whoever it is, a tip of the tongue hat to you, sir or madam. Get a new Papadia, 4 flavors, just $6 each. Better ingredients, better pizza, better than a sandwich. Papa John's.
My daughter Brinley is here at St. Jude. Coming here was literally life or death, and it was so scary. But St. Jude is fighting for one goal, like this one mission, life. And that gave us hope. We haven't received a single bill from St. Jude, so I really can just focus on what's best for Brinley.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
The Miami Heat defeated the Houston Rockets 113-91 last night, led by Kendrick Nunn with his 30 points. The Heat's next game is Wednesday in San Antonio. Tip-off is at 8:30. The Florida Panthers won their second game in a row, this time a 3-2 victory over the Columbus Blue Jackets. They skate again tonight with the Blue Jackets. Puck drops at 7. Vanessa Bryant and the Kobe Bryant estate have elected to not renew their partnership with Nike. Kobe's Nike contract expired on April 13th. The Miami Dolphins have signed 11-year veteran offensive lineman DJ Fluker. Fluker has started 59 games during his NFL career. And the Miami Marlins host the Baltimore Orioles for a 2-game series. First pitches tonight at 6:40 with Nick Niter on the mound for your Fish. The Onside Sports Update, I'm Alex Aguirre. Coming up, it's more of the Man of the Match with Alex Donno right here at OnsideRadio.com.
Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, welcome back into Man of the Match with Alex Donno. I'm Alex Donno here on OnsideRadio.com. So some good NFL draft discussion going on in the YouTube chat. Remember, you can watch us live on YouTube. Maybe if you're listening and you're stationary right now, you say, hell, why don't we pull up the video? You can look at my beautiful face, which thankfully is half covered by a mask because we keep it safe here. I work in close quarters with Alex Aguirre, so we keep everything masked up. I am halfway vaccinated. I'm going to get my second dose of Pfizer on May 3rd. I'm really curious to see how I do because I take a lot of pride in not getting any side effects. So I'm going to be really disappointed in myself if my body just hates me after I get the second one. Because I've heard that from a few people. I know our good friend Kai Chen Chisholm, when he got his second Pfizer, it made him pretty ill for 24 hours. I've heard a few stories like that. I had absolutely nothing from the first dose, no problem whatsoever, not even a sore arm. It actually made me better. I kind of felt like they might have, because I didn't see what they put in the syringe. So I thought maybe they gave me steroids by accident because I felt really good for a few days after my first dose. So I'm hoping the second dose does the same thing. I'm going to be really disappointed in myself if I have any sort of side effect because I take a lot of pride in not ever getting ill. It's one of the few things that I'm good at is not getting sick. Oh, man. Bromar Smelly writes, Atlanta will draft Penei Sewell. Matt Ryan is one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league. They need to help him out there. Plus, they have a legit tight end already. Herman says Falcons might also draft a quarterback. I would have thought that before I read about the Matt Ryan restructure because they're really tied to him for a couple more years. Herman says the key will be who the Bengals draft, in my opinion. If they draft Sewell, who they should, we will be okay. Resendo says trust the process. I know D. Orlando Ledbetter, who covers the Falcons, he was on with Big O a couple weeks ago and said that he really expects Atlanta to draft Penei Sewell. Obviously, the need is there. I agree. They have a need for an offensive tackle. But, you can't say they wouldn't take Pitts because they already have a good tight end because you could say the same thing about the Dolphins. I think that Kyle Pitts is just so special that I think any team who doesn't need a quarterback could look at Kyle Pitts and say, this guy might be the best non-quarterback in the draft. So if I'm looking at a potential franchise-changing player who can score a lot of touchdowns for me and just create these disgusting mismatches because linebackers are not fast enough to cover him, cornerbacks and safeties are not, tall enough and long enough to cover him, that this guy is just going to run roughshod on the National Football League. That might be an overriding factor. It's, I've been saying it for a couple weeks that I'm really not convinced that Kyle Pitts falls to number 6. Luckily, I'm good no matter what, okay? Because if Kyle Pitts doesn't fall to 6, maybe Chase, Waddle, and Smith are still there, right? If Jamar Chase doesn't fall to 6, then maybe Pitts, Smith, and Waddle are still there. Hell, even if both Kyle Pitts and Jamar Chase don't fall to 6, then personally I like Jalen Waddle even more than Devontae Smith, but maybe the Dolphins feel differently. Maybe they like Smith more than Waddle, but I'm not going to complain no matter what. I think the Dolphins are at a really good spot. It just would not shock me, and I warned you guys a couple weeks ago. We're 9 days away now from the first round of the draft. Don't be heartbroken or surprised if Atlanta at 4 or even Cincinnati at 5 just decides that Kyle Pitts is too special to pass up and they draft him. Like, don't be shocked because, hey, if the Dolphins can draft Kyle Pitts, even though they already have Mike Gesicki, anybody who's not, in love with a quarterback might take him. And hell, somebody might even trade up and try to get in front of the Dolphins to draft Kyle Pitts. Bromar Smelly says, just don't have any roid rages on air, Donno. I already think I may have already had a couple of them last week. Do you remember, Alex? I was raging when I found out on Friday that Dwayne Wade was buying into the Utah Jazz. I felt very betrayed. That might have been a roid rage.
A little bit. Who can blame you though? Jeremy said it best. We feel like he's our son.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's going on here? Why are you moving out? Why are you moving out of the house in a way? So, I kind of have mixed feelings about that too. But I don't blame you for going all out on giving your hot takes on D Wade joining the Utah Jazz. But he's not really joining them. It's just because Shaq is a part owner of the Sacramento Kings, and they suck.
Weird. Yeah.
And he played for a million teams, but never the Kings.
The Jazz, the Jazz are good though. They don't suck. They're really good. So I don't know. Just and listen, at least it's not a rival, right?
True.
If Dwayne was buying into
the Knicks,
or
God.
the Celtics, then I'd be really pissed.
How about the Lakers to join his buddy LeBron, and then Pat Riley has something to say about that?
Yeah, that would be a real
former team.
Although I don't know if Dwayne Wade could afford to buy into the Lakers. The valuation. I don't mean that to dismiss Dwayne Wade, but you remember what was it 6-7 years ago when the Clippers got sold for $2 billion? How much are the Lakers worth? And I know what you're saying. Oh well, he's only buying 1%. But the thing is, you can buy 1% of the Utah Jazz for $17 million. What do you think the Utah Jazz are what do you think 100% of the Utah Jazz are worth? They're in Salt Lake City. And Salt Lake City's a low key. It's a really nice spot. I've been there a couple times. I recommend. The thing is, I get upset they don't let you see the secret part of the Mormon temple. It's bro, why do I have to be a member to go? It should be for everybody. I don't understand that. If I go to St. Peter's Basilica, the big Catholic cathedral in Rome, the home of the Pope, the Vatican, they let you walk. You can't go into the Pope's bedroom or something, but you can walk around the entire church. How come I can't go into the to the big part of the Mormon temple? What are you hiding in there? I don't understand. I can't have free range in that place. But Salt Lake City is great. It's an underrated foodie town. You would never guess this in a million years. But they have some really good Italian delis in Salt Lake City. You would never guess that. You know what I think it is, Alex? It's probably mafia guys who go into witness protection. Because you think,
God, that makes so much sense.
About it, the mob guys from Jersey.
You wouldn't assume they're there,
when they rat out their paisans,
mm-hmm.
the judge. It's hey, we're gonna keep this on the down low, but if they find out, you ratted, they're gonna kill you. So you have to go into Wit Pro. And they're thinking, nobody's going to find me in Salt Lake City. So they all go down to Salt Lake City. A guy whose name was Salvatore, he's going to change his name to Jim and go out there to Salt Lake City, and he's going to open up an Italian deli. And I feast. It's a really nice spot. You would be surprised. 844-416-8123. We'll wrap up the 4 o'clock hour when we come back here on Onside Radio. Hey, we'd like to thank A Shade Above Window Fashions in Davie. 954-434-4774. A Shade Above teamed up with Bandalux to personalize and create the Onside Radio shade in beautiful pink and black. To order protection with style for your home or office like we did, call A Shade Above Window Fashions, 954-434-4774. Go to the website, ashadeaboveflorida.com. Love the space you live in. A Shade Above Window Fashions.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
Hey Panthers fans, Dave Dwart here with some awesome news. Every Saturday, I'm going to bring you the latest on everything to do with the Florida Panthers with Chirping the Cats Radio. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., we'll dive into the state of the team, recap games, and hear from past and present Panthers players, and plenty of other great hockey guests too. Got questions about the Panthers? Call or text the show and we'll break it down. Don't miss Chirping the Cats Radio, Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., only on OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
Inter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com.
If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
You know where the Krispy Kreme is at?
Yeah, I know
okay,
exactly
because
what you're talking
remember,
about.
fat people use food places as landmarks. That's what we do, okay? Hey, you're going over there? Listen, you go a mile down, you turn a left on the Kentucky Fried Chicken, and then you go down about 3 more blocks, there's a Tijuana Flats, make a right, 1 block down, it's right next to the 7-Eleven. That's a fat person, guaranteed. No, dude, it's 3 miles down right next to the Carvel. That's fat people for you. That's we love food. We know our landmarks.
The Onside Zone with Big O, only on OnsideRadio.com. You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com, broadcasting from South Florida to the world.
Can I get a captain?
Captain and what?
Captain and Ginger.
I can't hear you.
Captain and Ginger.
He was a captain and ginger, captain and ginger. He was a captain and ginger.
Captain Morgan, official partner of Major League Soccer.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
So among the things I want to get into in the 5 o'clock hour, we are going to talk about the rise and the fall of the European Super League with Nima Tavale Rutsari, a good friend of mine, soccer journalist, who is, I don't know, I think that like me, he's a little bit surprised that it fell apart so quickly. I want to throw this out there to some who weren't listening to the opening segment and have maybe joined in late. I know we have some soccer fans like Tony 2 times in the YouTube chat. With the way that it looks like Super League may be completely dissolved by the end of the night, it really makes the wheels turn in my brain under my tinfoil hat. Now, we know that the teams who formed this alleged Super League, they all want a bigger piece of the pie. They want to make bigger revenues. They are not happy with the way corrupt sanctioning body UEFA and also FIFA have been running things. And I think there's reason to be upset because there's no transparency there. I mean, you've got a bunch of overpaid, greedy bureaucrats running UEFA and FIFA, and you have no idea how much their executives are getting paid. They keep that a secret. Like Florentino Perez pointed out yesterday, we know exactly how much money LeBron James makes. It's public knowledge. We have no idea what the president of UEFA makes. So there are issues there because you don't know how much money they're hoarding. And they've been up to shady stuff because the way that they punish some teams, not punish other teams, it's a lot like the NCAA. It's very inconsistent, and it really makes no sense the way that they levy out punishments. I had been of the mind a couple days ago when we first heard about the Super League. I had been thinking, I wonder if this is a power play. Like, I wonder if this is not something they actually expect to form, but if the 12 clubs who are doing this are basically putting their leverage together to try and force UEFA to reform, to give them bigger revenue shares, whatever. Because we were led to believe over the last couple of days that these clubs had signed ironclad contracts with JP Morgan, who was funding this. Ironclad contracts they'd signed. They were all going to get 425 million euros, each of them, just for joining the league. And DAZN was paying 3.5 billion euros for the TV rights to it. And so if that was true, if they'd locked themselves into ironclad agreements and they'd signed it and sealed it, announced it, it would not be this easy just to get the hell out of it. Like, it wouldn't be that easy for Chelsea and for Manchester City and Barcelona and the other teams that have already pulled out. They can't just wake up this morning and decide, hey, you know what? There's a lot of angry fans, so just kidding. We're gonna back. Like, no, JP, you don't mess with JP Morgan. Like, if this was all legit, you signed your life away to them. You can't just decide 2 days later, just kidding, I don't want to do this. So I'm starting to believe this was all a farce. Like, I'm really starting to believe that the teams who announced this had no real intention of carrying it out, that this was a threat. And, you know, Manchester City has already come back to the to the European club community. UEFA announced that within the last hour. I think more clubs are like there's a report that the Super League clubs are all meeting tonight to dissolve the league. It doesn't dissolve this easily and quickly if it was legitimate. I really think that this was a bluff. I really think it was a bluff, and I think that they were doing this to try to get some sort of concession out of UEFA, some kind of a Champions League reform, and I hope it worked. Like, I hope that something positive comes out of this, man. 844-416-8123. Yeah, and Mike No Go Zones, by the way, makes a great point. FIFA showed their true colors when they awarded Qatar the World Cup. And they're responsible for thousands of deaths because, you know, literally people are dying in Qatar setting up the infrastructure for that World Cup. The human rights violations are abhorrent, and FIFA needs to answer for that. He's 100% right about that. It really is disgusting to me. And it's also disgusting that a lot of soccer fans seem more upset about the Super League than what's happening in Qatar. More people need to be aware of that. Hey, Saturdays from 1 to 3 p.m., baseball fans can go deep into the count with Alex Aguirre and Christian Chase. Catch the show that talks Marlins and all the big stories in the major leagues every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. Seamheads have a new home. Listen to Deep Into the Count exclusively at OnSideRadio.com.
OnSideRadio.com knows gamers need a home.
Can you dig it?
That's why for the next 60 seconds,
Can you count, suckers?
here's your On-Side Radio E-Report with Kai Chen Chisholm.
Congratulations are in order for streamer and now the new 100 Thieves content creator Kaide as she becomes their first international streaming star. The streamer who does stream exclusively on Twitch becomes the first international star for 100 Thieves as she is from Canada. The 19-year-old who is still in school will be a part of the content creation side. They like her personality and the community she built, and they said that she strives to create a better space for women in gaming and that they're excited to have her a part of 100 Thieves. Though mainly positive, one of the things that has been noticed by some has been the reference of her being just Tenz's girlfriend, Tenz of course who plays for Sentinels, and not just saying Kaide who is a Twitch streamer. She has been given some credit by some outlets such as Dixerto in the headlines just being named as Tenz's girlfriend. Congratulations are in order to Kaide as she does become the first international content creator for 100 Thieves.
Stay in touch in the world of gaming with the On-Side Radio E-Report. We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the Radio.net app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
Hey everybody, it's Good Greek Moving and Storage, and for over 2 decades, they've been entrusted to handle all of your moving and storage needs. And now, Good Greek is the official mover of Inter Miami CF. And if Inter Miami trusts the Good Greek, you should too. For the best move ever, whether it's across town or across the country, go to GreekMoving.com. That's GreekMoving.com for Good Greek Moving and Storage, the official movers of your Inter Miami CF.
Miami Dolphins fans can always count on the best coverage at OnsideRadio.com. Every week, keep up with your favorite team as Dolphins writer Omar Kelly joins us with exclusive reports. And when news breaks, catch the EJDConstruction.com Miami Dolphins report on the home for Dolphins fans everywhere, OnsideRadio.com. You're listening to the flagship station of Inter Miami CF, OnsideRadio.com. Follow us on social media at Onside Radio. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, 5 o'clock hour of Man of the Match with Alex Donno. I'm Alex Donno here on OnsideRadio.com, broadcasting live inside the beautiful Drive Pink Stadium here in Fort Lauderdale. This is a great spot, the home of Inter Miami CF. Team is going to be on the road this Saturday to take on Philadelphia Union. It's a road game, but we'll have you covered. We'll be broadcasting Big O and I pregame, halftime, and postgame from Dangerous Minds Brewing Company in Pompano Beach. And you guys can join us out there. You can watch the game with us. They're going to have the game on the TVs. We're all going to talk shop with the fans. You know, you guys can help us with our halftime show prep, postgame show prep, all that good stuff, man. We are the station of the people, right? We have a draft show next week at Sports Grill. We've got Inter Miami Road Rally this weekend at Dangerous Minds. You know what the Static AM stations are doing? They're doing like a Zoom call for the draft next week. they're having like a virtual draft party. Dude, I don't know about you guys, but once we're like officially done with this pandemic, and hopefully we ever are officially done with it, because like I don't know, are people going to start saying, oh, well, you know what? Maybe we should just you know, socially distance forever. Like, I don't know, man. I want to be able to hug people again at some point. I love hugging strangers. It's a great thing, and I've been respectful. I've not done it during the pandemic, but once we're through this, I want to start hugging people again. Eventually, I hope we get our lives back. I hope that society is willing to get back to normal, and we don't just decide, you know what, the new normal should be the normal forever. Let's keep Zooming forever. Let's keep fist bumping until the end of time. Although, you know what? To be honest, I don't miss handshakes. Handshakes might be what I miss least. Like, I miss going to the movies. I miss packed stadiums. You know, not as much as Big O, but I miss going to concerts. I don't go to 4 concerts a week like Orlando does, but I do miss being able to go to concerts and comedy shows and all that, comedy clubs. But I don't really miss shaking hands. Right? Because sometimes you shake somebody's hand, they give you the dead fish. Sometimes they squeeze a little bit too tight. Sometimes you're thinking, I don't know where that hand has been. I don't mind fist bumping forever. I really don't. I think that should be probably the wave of the future, man. The absolute wave of the future. But yeah, we're not doing a virtual draft party. We're gonna have draft shows at the Sports Grill next week, 7:30 p.m. start on Thursday for round 1, 6:30 p.m. start because the second round starts a little bit earlier on Friday. So an 8 p.m. primetime draft start Thursday, which means we start 7:30. They've got a 7 p.m. second round start on Friday. We'll start at 6:30. So join us at the Sports Grill on Bird Road next week, and join us this Saturday for Inter Miami at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company in Pompano. So we have something for the Dade County folks. We have something for the Broward County folks. I mean, at some point, I'm sure we'll do something for Palm Beach, but God, I don't want to drive that far. I mean, the drive from South Kendall to Palm Beach County, it is a hike, my friends. It's not an easy drive to make. Hey, we appreciate everyone who joins us in the YouTube chat. Oh, and by the way, as Rosendo points out, and you guys know I don't talk a whole lot of politics on the show because I don't like to divide people, but this is big. Rosendo says in the chat that the verdict is being read for Derek Chauvin. This is obviously a really, really big story that is gonna affect every American depending on how this goes. So please, I'm not watching it live, so please let me know what the verdict is, Rosendo, after it comes out, because you're probably going to see it before me, okay? Before we get into all that, so despite the NFLPA's threats, apparently the Dolphins had a pretty good turnout at voluntary workouts. I was reading about it in Dolphins Wire. Kyle Krabs writes, one of the big movements across the NFL right now is players pushing back to some extent against voluntary workouts and organized team activities. The push, which is rooted both in data from 2020 that showed a virtual offseason helped boost player safety and protect from injury, and also concerns regarding the COVID-19 policies in place for these events, prompted the Miami Dolphins to join a slew of teams across the league in issuing a statement via the NFL Players Association. Based on the Dolphins' statement, it appeared as though the team would be opting to sit out the voluntary workouts, which opened yesterday across the league. But reports out of South Florida have the Dolphins yesterday have indicated that the Dolphins were very intentional with their choice of words, most specifically this juncture. This is part of their statement. The Miami Dolphins stand in solidarity with players across the league who are making informed decisions to exercise their right to not attend voluntary in-person workouts this offseason. What this doesn't say is the Miami Dolphins will not be partaking in in-person voluntary workouts themselves, which is now apparent based on a report from the Miami Herald's Adam Beasley that, quote, a good number of Miami Dolphins players chose to attend the first day of voluntary in-person workouts. 3 days after collectively saying they stand in solidarity with their peers, this is a quote from Beasley, who are skipping voluntary in-person workouts this offseason over health and safety concerns, a good number of Miami Dolphins players chose to attend the first day of voluntary in-person workouts, according to a source familiar with the organization. A surprising number of Dolphins players, including established veterans, decided to report Monday, the same day their union chief was stressing to reporters that those players were putting themselves at risk by doing so. Again, I call shenanigans on some of that. I can understand the players. They're upset. They want to push back a little bit about the extra game being added. They're salty about 17 games, even though they signed the CBA that gave the owners the option to do it, and the owners exercised it. They were following the CBA, not violating it. So I don't think the players had a right to complain. I can understand why you would think, in theory, a voluntary workout might put you at more risk of injury. But the thing about it is, if you're not working out there, you're working out somewhere. Like, if you're an NFL player and you're serious about longevity and competing in that league, you can't just not work out in the offseason, right? So if you're not working out at the team facility, you're working out somewhere else, right? You're probably doing a lot of the same stuff. You're conditioning, you're lifting weights, you're doing drills with guys. You just might choose to do the drills at a park on your own with some other players instead of doing it in an official capacity. So I think really the teams have a responsibility to make the environment at the facility as safe as possible for injury and for COVID, for that matter. We'll get to that. I don't necessarily think the players working out on their own is any safer whatsoever than working out of the team facility. And then as far as the COVID-19 thing, and I take the virus very seriously. But on the other hand, these players have had the ability to be vaccinated by now. Maybe there are some who, for whatever reason, make the conscientious decision they don't want it, religious beliefs or medical conditions or what have you. But, all of these players had the ability to be vaccinated by now. And when it comes to keeping facilities safe, the NFL did an okay job with that last year. It wasn't perfect, right? You did have a few COVID outbreaks throughout the week, throughout the season. It wasn't the catastrophe that a lot of us were expecting because, when the NFL season started last year, a good number of media types thought, okay, they started. There's no way they're going to finish it. There's no way they can get through a season. And the NFL proved you wrong. The NFL got through a season. And since last season, the protocols have gotten better, not worse. We've learned more about COVID-19, not less. We've learned more about the right steps to take, whether it be air filtration, cleanliness, social distancing. Like the protocols since last season have gotten better, not worse. So I have a reasonable expectation that these NFL facilities are more than capable, unless there are egregious rule violations happening. But, theoretically, these NFL teams are more than capable of keeping their facilities pretty safe from COVID-19 spread. And to me, these players have had the ability to get vaccinated by now, so this really shouldn't even be an issue. So I don't really – it's hard for me to have a lot of sympathy for the NFLPA to say, hey, we're boycotting voluntary workouts because they're not putting us in safe working conditions. Like, dude, I don't know. Like, if you don't want to do it, just give us the real reason why, because I'm not so sure if I can take that seriously. 844-416-8123 is the number. That's 844-4. Okay, great. Rosendo says guilty on all three counts. So the verdict is done. Derek Chauvin is guilty on all three counts. Guilty. Sounds like justice to me, man. I'm relieved to hear that. I am very relieved to hear that. Guilty. All right, good. Justice has been served in America today. 844-416-8123. Here's how you reach us on the text line on OnsideRadio.com. I heard this in Alex's update, and I was reading about this today. Do we know why Vanessa Bryant, the widow of Kobe Bryant, she's not renewing Kobe's Nike contract? I mean, obviously, Kobe, may he rest in peace, passed a little bit over a year ago. He'd been with Nike for 17 years. This is a report from thebiglead.com. According to ESPN's NBA sneaker expert Nick DePaola. What a job that is, to be ESPN's NBA sneaker expert. That's a gig a lot of people would want, I'm sure. Kobe Bryant's wife, Vanessa, who controls Kobe's trust, decided not to renew her late husband's contract with Nike. DePaola says the partnership between the Bryants and Nike is done. It's unclear if this is temporary or permanent, but for now, there are no plans for any further Bryant-related merchandise releases by the company. Bryant had been with Nike for 17 years leading up to his death in January 2020. It was recently claimed that Bryant had been planning to leave Nike prior to his path. That's interesting. He'd been planning to leave Nike prior to his passing and start his own shoe company. Perhaps that is what Vanessa plans to do in an effort to comply with her late husband's wishes. It's still surprising to hear about Bryant's association with Nike ending. He was, after all, famously loyal to the brand during his career. The thing about starting their own brand, that's the only thing that makes sense to me here, because obviously Kobe is no longer with us, but keeping the shoe deal going sounds like a fantastic way to keep his legacy alive. Because someone like Kobe Bryant, the legacy does not end in death. Like Kobe Bryant's passing, the legend, the highlights, the memories, and the merchandise live on. And, his shoe deal and merchandise with Nike, I thought, is a pretty powerful way to keep Kobe's memory alive. So when I saw this report that Vanessa Bryant was ending the relationship with Nike, now, on the one hand, who am I to say what the widow does with his estate? I don't have all the facts, so I'm not in any position morally to tell her what she should do for her husband's legacy. Who cares what I think? And let's also remember that this poor woman lost a daughter in this as well, which I think is, is the even greater tragedy because, losing a spouse is horrific. Losing a child is unfathomable, okay? But you know what? The other part of that makes sense, Alex. The idea that if Kobe, before his death, was planning on getting out of the Nike deal and just doing his own thing from scratch, from Vanessa's perspective, if she knew that's what he wanted to do, that to me sounds like this is a wife fulfilling the wishes of the late husband. And so I'm very curious to see if in the coming days or months we hear something about a Kobe brand, grassroots brand being started, because it's going to be a big success. Because Kobe, while living, Kobe was one of the most idolized players in the world. And, you know, upon his passing, I think his brand in a weird way, and it's a little bit morbid to say it, but I think he's become even more appreciated from beyond now. So I think a Kobe Bryant unique brand would would be an absolute smash. And so maybe that's what they want to do here. All right, we're going to talk some European Super League. May she rest in peace. We're going to talk with soccer journalist Nima Tavale-Ruzzari, who does an excellent job on the Italian football show and SempreInter.com, and he's been following this Super League story from the beginning. He's going to join us after this here on Onside Radio. Hey, over the last 30 years, South Florida fans have always been able to count on one radio show that gives you the brutal honesty you need. Orlando Alzagari in the Onside Zone, daily from noon to 3 p.m., exclusively at OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can now watch Onside Radio daily by subscribing to our YouTube and Twitch channels. Search Onside Radio. Log on, subscribe, rate, and review Onside Radio on YouTube and Twitch. Find out why Big O has a face for radio. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's home for real sports talk. This Saturday, Inter Miami CF visits the Philadelphia Union at Subaru Park.
And now Higuain trying to bend his run in behind. Flag is temporarily stayed down. Higuain is in. At the square with Robinson. No square. Robbie Robinson has opened the scoring. The flag is stayed down. And Inter Miami are off and running in 2021. They lead the LA Galaxy by a goal to nil.
Join OnsideRadio.com as we broadcast live from Dangerous Minds Brewing Company in Pompano. Our pregame broadcast watch party starts at 7 p.m. Game time is 8 p.m. Listen to all the games by going to our website at OnsideRadio.com and download any of our apps. Follow Inter Miami CF all year long on your home for football. OnsideRadio.com.
Inter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com.
I'm Ryan Seacrest. First responders are people who stand for a greater purpose. They will be there for you when nobody else is, to help you, your family, your community. This is their selfless promise. This is their sworn duty, to protect, to serve, to help. They put themselves in harm's way for us. They come to the rescue at times when we need them most. First responders are making enormous personal sacrifices to keep showing up for us and fighting the good fight. Nearly 70% of all firefighters are volunteers. That means when they get injured or quarantined, they may not have a way to pay their rent or keep their family safe and fed. No matter who you are or where you live, when you call 911 and ask for help, first responders show up. Now, let's show up for the people who show up for us every day and every night.
Go to firstrcf.org and make a difference today.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida's true hometown station. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. Check this out. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, welcome back in to Man of the Match with Alex Donno. I'm Alex Donno here on OnSideRadio.com. So I'm not sure if we might be having a technical challenge here with the Skype, so we can bring our pal Nima on. Do you want me to? Let me know if you can try to punch it up, and I'll see if he can hear me. Because I guess we hadn't used the Skype here in the studio in a minute. So Nima Tavale Rutsari is going to join us, we hope, here in a couple minutes to talk a little bit about the quick life and apparent death of the European Super League, which is it had the entire soccer world just that's weird. We can hear it through the speaker. That's weird. We got to be able to get that through the computer. That's so odd. So we got our crack staff here working on it. We're going to try to get this connection. It's weird. Yeah, it's weird. I can hear him through the speaker on the computer, but we need to hear it through the speaker in my headset. God, I hope we can get this worked out. 844-416-8123 is how you get in via the text line. That's 844-416-8123. And yeah, I'm really, really relieved. I know a lot of listeners have kept us updated on this. Because I wasn't watching it live, but I was following things live on Twitter, that the officer who murdered George Floyd, Derek Chauvin, was found guilty on all 3 counts. So, listen, from where I sit, justice was served, because we all saw what happened on video. It was, to me, a pretty open and shut case. So I thought they got it right, and thank the good Lord they got it right, because it would have been an absolute disaster if the jury had gotten this one wrong. So God bless America. I think today was a good day, and I see a lot of people saying that, hey, you shouldn't be rejoicing because this is what should have happened, and I get that, but I can also be happy that they got it right, because sometimes they don't get these things right. Make sure you can follow our show on YouTube. Go to youtube.com, search for Onside Radio, hit the watch live button, and you can not only watch us live, and you can chat with us here on OnSideRadio.com. So we're hoping to be able to get the Skype working and connected to the computer here in a moment. Yeah, I was really happy last night. It was a good night in the South Florida sports scene. You got a Florida Panthers win. You got a Miami Heat win over the Houston Rockets, which was, on paper expected, because the Rockets are among the 2 worst teams in the league record-wise, but still, you had to win that game with no Jimmy Butler, no Bam Adebayo, and no Tyler Hero, and the Heat still won it with ease. Now, last night was one of those nights where I had to prioritize our Florida Panthers over the Miami Heat, because that was a supremely important game for the Cats going up against the Columbus Blue Jackets. And the Panthers, by the way, by virtue of beating Columbus with Bobrovsky in net last night, 4-2, they're back in points on top of the Central Division. Panthers are tied with Carolina at 63 points. Tampa Bay a point behind both of them at 62. Now, both those teams have games in hand on the Panthers, but still, listen, the onus is on them to win their games in hand. If the Florida Panthers can keep winning, they're going to be in good shape here. And Radko Gudas scored his 2nd on the season. He was freaking electric. I love to see the Butcher get in on the action, get in on the scoring. Sam Bennett has just been an absolute force since joining the Panthers. He had 2 assists in the previous game. He had a goal yesterday. Frank Vetrano scored a pair of goals in that victory. Frank the Tank is usually the clutch guy who's scoring the game-winning goals, but Frank Vetrano actually scored the opening goal, and he scored the empty netter to ice the game, so to speak. And the Panthers are now 29-12-5 on the season, tied with Carolina for the most points in the division. So that was really, really an awesome sight to watch the Panthers get through that victory and to watch the Heat win yesterday. I know that with the Miami Heat, it's become an interesting talking point for the last couple of days on Tyler Hero. So on Monday, yesterday, Ira Winderman and Ethan Skolnick had their Inside the Paint show, and they had talked about something that, you notice Tyler Hero, he's become a little bit Hollywood lately, okay? You see the guy in a lot of commercials. He's launched his own Chipotle bowl. He's active on social media. He's dating an Instagram model. and Ira had brought up the idea that, okay, we go out now to the Skype. We got it working. My very dear friend, who does such an awesome job, and it's been such a crazy 48 hours, Nima Tavale Rudsari from SempreInter.com and from the excellent Italian football show, which really they have some incredible guests, and they break down world football like no other. Nima, welcome aboard the show, sir. Is your head absolutely spinning from these last couple days?
Well, you know me, Alex. I mean, it's been pretty intense to try to keep up with everything. But you know, we've been talking privately, and you know that I haven't been getting too excited about this because I couldn't really care either way, because I feel that, you know, this was. In some respects, this has been a long time coming. The wheels that were set in motion to bring us to this point with the European Super League have been for 30-40 years. I was earlier today. I was on this Spaces on Twitter with Alexi Lalas, former U.S. men's national team player, and I was discussing it with him, and I said, look, the first time I heard the term European Super League was actually by Franz Beckenbauer some 20-30 years ago.
Oh wow!
And Rummenigge and Hoeneß. This has been a long time coming, and the creation of the Premier League and the Champions League, they set the course. You know, it was already down this path, but they really set this course to bring us to here. And then we saw this, you know, what happened earlier today. A lot of fake news was flying around, a lot of unconfirmed reports, a lot of blue check journalists spread a lot of misinformation today, and they look really stupid, which is always hilarious.
Well, tell me what is real, because you know, if I go by Twitter, and like you say, it's very hard to know what's real and what's not, because a lot of blue check marks have been duped. Okay, so if I go by Twitter, it sounds like the European Super League is effectively dead. Is that the case?
Yes, it seems to me that is the case, because Manchester City released an official statement saying that they have begun proceedings to leave the European Super League. I mean, just to put this in perspective, Man United's chairman or CEO,
Ed Woodward.
His name eludes me. Yeah, Ed Woodward. Sorry, he was going to resign at the end of 2021. That was, everybody kind of knew that. He didn't resign effective immediately because of the European Super League. No, that was going to happen a long time ago, and everybody knew that. Andrea Agnelli did not resign. I got to give a shout out to this kid, to this guy in Germany, a Juve fan, who fooled everybody by changing his Twitter handle, and he fooled actual, you know, blue check journalists who aren't really journalists. What they do is stenography, but they pose as journalists, and it's hilarious when they get suckered. And that, you know, I like that part of the chaos equation of it. I think it's hilarious. You know that. You know me personally.
Yeah.
So no, I got to give shout out to that kid, because he fooled everybody with that, and it was funny because Juventus actually were forced to put out to forcefully deny that Andrea Agnelli has resigned. And he actually, this is another thing, he's a big sit down interview with him is going to be published in tomorrow's paper edition of the Corriere dello Sport, one of the three big major newspapers in Italy, where he's going to explain everything. So no, I think a lot of this was just a bit of a media circus, really, to be honest with you.
It was, and of course now that it's basically dead, football fans.
Well, it's not. Yeah,
go ahead.
Let's talk about. Is it really
let's talk
dead?
about it.
I mean, what is dead? What is it that dead? What exactly did they want? They want. I mean, if we look at the proposal changes that UEFA kind of granted them to go through by 2024, that they kind of decided on today during their meeting. It doesn't really differ that much from in substance from what they wanted. Of course, it's lesser teams. They wanted 20 teams. This is going to be 36 or 38. I can't remember. It's going to be many more games. It's going to be harder for mainstays to not play in the tournament. All of these things are what they wanted. So there are like some minor differences in the actual proposal, but above all is the money,
yes.
Because the 4 billion euros that magically disappeared all of a sudden after UEFA said that they didn't have it, and that was very close to the sum that J.P. Morgan, according to reports, had guaranteed these teams 4 billion euros. And I hate when that happens, don't you? When you misplace 4 billion euros.
It's under the sofa cushion. How did it wind up down there?
I hate when that happens. You do the laundry and you put your old jeans in there, and then one day, all of a sudden, look at that! It was in my left pocket all along. I mean, it's funny. I can't take any of this seriously. I've been laughing at this for the past 3 days because the whole thing is a circus. I mean, just the theatrics of it all when they revealed this on midnight, exactly midnight between Sunday and Monday on the day that UEFA were going to reveal this. And I mean, come on. It was hilarious.
Now,
it was enjoyable.
Now, when you talk about the 4 billion euros that UEFA magically located, so it sounds to me like positive change is coming out of this. So, do you think that football fans will actually, maybe look a little bit fondly at the 12 clubs who maybe force some of this positive change? Because Nima, in reality, I think that teams are going to look at these 12 clubs, including a club that we both cover in Inter Milano, and look at them in a negative light because, oh my God, they dared to blaspheme football by joining this Super League.
I don't think they care. Like, honestly, I don't think they give a damn, to be honest. I think this is, when it comes to PR for them, it's always about the bottom line. And the bottom line is that they needed to do this to secure that extra funding to be able to survive. That's just the hardcore, harsh reality of it. And football fans, look, football fans aren't exactly, in terms of long-term memory, and they don't really stick together that much. This is, this will be long gone forgiven in a few weeks tops.
Yeah, it's true.
And let me put it to you this way: let the transfer season open, and when they start signing players again, and the fans get excited about next season, and they think about it'll all be gone. And I mean, no one, they'll if they have to, if it really gets bad, they'll get rid of some low-level exec, and and then but I don't even expect that to happen, to be perfectly honest with you. What I'm expecting to happen is for UEFA to send out, which has already started, this kumbaya, let's hold hands, kumbaya, my lord, we're all in this together and united and all that stuff, the usual shtick they go with. So it's I just think it's been an entertaining show. I'll give him that. It's been very entertaining.
Now, when the Super League was first announced, so much of the reaction was, oh, this is terrible greed. Like, oh, this is the worst kind of greed. Because, and Nima, I think that there is a lot of naivety among fans who just assume, if you root for a club like Barcelona, that they're always just going to be able to print money. It's a magic money machine. When, in reality, their budget is upside down. Their balance sheet is upside down. In Italy, teams like Juventus and Inter, the debt is pretty well publicized these days. And I'm glad that UEFA is finding a magic 4 billion euros. But, when we talked about forming this Super League for money, how badly do you think these clubs needed the money? Because I believe that their hand was forced by the pandemic in a way.
Without a doubt. I mean, look, the plans to do this has always been there because they want more. It's always about money and power. Sports is no different than life in general, and this, it's a reflection of that. I think what the pandemic did was basically, expedite a situation to bring it to this head-on point. I'm not. I mean, I think one thing that can be learned, and I know that I think that. The way I see it is this: the U.S. sports business model has clearly been shown to be the better of the two.
For profitability,
because it's
yes.
It's more sustainable because it's the way you guys do it has been shown that's a sustainable business model where athletes and clubs or franchises, as you guys call it, that everyone can make money and it doesn't fall. It's not a Ponzi scheme that falls on itself. It's a sustainable business model, and the European one where you just have this two-dimensional system with with increase in wages and transfer fees and not enough, revenue to back that up. That's just, they brought in financial fair play to address that. But if anything, the only thing that did was to cement the differences between the big clubs and the leagues and the different leagues.
Right.
So because, for example, the Premier League TV deal is worth much more than the Serie A or the Ligue 1 or the Bundesliga or the La Liga deal. And you have like all these discrepancies. Hello?
Yes. Sorry. I can't help but feel like this might have been, if I have my tinfoil hat
Hello?
on.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Oh, can you not hear me? That's weird. Everything was going fine. Oh, that was strange. So something must have dropped there. Well, we might have to we might have to hit the break. That was going so well, and then suddenly we lost the connect. All right, so we're going to hit a break here. We're going to take you till 6:00 here on OnsideRadio.com. So, hey, remember, Miami Dolphins fans can always count on the best coverage at OnsideRadio.com every week. Keep up with your favorite team as Dolphins writer Omar Kelly joins us with exclusive reports and when news breaks. So catch the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report on the home for Dolphins fans everywhere, OnsideRadio.com.
The man of the match with South Florida's own Alex Donno. Weekdays 1 to 5 p.m. on the home for Inter Miami football. OnsideRadio.com.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that. Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
She's kind of young, so I don't know. She may not be into Van Halen much. Let's see. Hey, Ruthie, good afternoon. Are you a Van Halen fan?
You know, I just had to Google Van Halen. I'm not going to lie to you. I just literally have it on my computer right now.
The Onside Zone with Big O. Weekdays 11 to 1 p.m. Only on OnsideRadio.com. You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
The Miami Heat beat the Houston Rockets 113-91 last night. Kendrick Nunn led the way for Miami with 30 points. Miami's next game is tomorrow in San Antonio against DeMar DeRozan and the Spurs. Tip-off is at 8:30. Florida Panthers won their second game in a row, this time a 3-2 victory over Columbus. They skate again tonight against the Blue Jackets. Puck drops at 7 p.m. The Miami Dolphins have signed 11-year vet offensive lineman DJ Fluker. Fluker has started 59 games during his NFL career. And the Miami Marlins kick off a short 2-game series against the Baltimore Orioles at Lone Depot Park. Nick Neidert will have the first pitch for your Miami Marlins at 6:40 p.m. This is South Florida's home for local sports talk. This is OnSideRadio.com.
You're listening to OnSideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnSideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
So we got Nima back on the line. I wanted to ask him one final question. Oh, wait, no. We don't have him back on the line yet. Hold on. Because I wanted to, because we got a little bit cut off there abruptly. So I wanted to ask him one final question and then send him off the right way. Yeah, so Nima, I wanted to be able to close it out there. No worries. Technical issues, it happens, man. When we're trying to connect people in Miami to people in Sweden, sometimes it's not perfect. And so, okay, now that it looks like European Super League has fallen apart. Now there are going to be
for now.
Oh, okay, let's start there. Do you think within a couple of years we go down this road again?
I think it's inevitable.
Yeah.
I think it's inevitable that we end up here at some point. Whether or not how this again, as I said, I mean, it depends on how this is inevitable. This is where we're always headed, and I think as long as certain paradigms are true, this is going to happen, and these clubs are going to be pushing for more and more and more, especially now that they got so close to actually completing this. They won a couple of legal battles that were pretty impressive earlier in the day, where they got a court in Spain to basically prevent UEFA from banning them or disciplining them in any shape, size, or form prior to the case being heard at a court. The antitrust agency or authority of the EU said that this European Super League does not violate any European antitrust laws. So they were actually going pretty well, and then they decided to pull back. Now, obviously, I've heard there are unconfirmed reports coming that there was a lot of fighting in the UK from certain clubs, infighting and investors, etc., stuff like that. That's fine, but I think that at the end of the day, this is where we're headed, and let's remember that UEFA are the middleman here, and they're not exactly this. This is not a non-profit or not-for-profit organization that helps. This is let's remember who these guys are. This is they are an organization that they're the middleman, and they're the federation, and they make a lot of money. A lot of important money. A lot of important people make a lot of money at UEFA. So let's remember that. So I do think that this just kind of changed the dynamics a little bit. I mean, at the end of the day, does it really matter who organizes the Super League? No. If for all intents and purposes, it is a Super League, and it is as close to what they wanted anyway in terms of the revenue share and it almost being a closed league, etc. So no, I'm not too it is what it is. That's my mentality.
And it seems like the fallout here is still pretty fluid. So I don't know if there's a definite answer to this question, but I do know that there were financial reasons, of course, why these clubs wanted to form a Super League in the first place. So do you think now those same financial goals can be accomplished without Super League? Like, what does this mean for these clubs who lost a ton of money during COVID in the immediate future? Could some of these clubs still be in now perilous financial positions?
I think it's still too soon. I think it's still too soon for any of these clubs to say that they're out of the woods just yet. But I mean, except for Man City and Chelsea, who are doing pretty okay, and I'm just going to go, just count the ones that actually, announced that they're going to do this. The rest of them, they're in serious debt, and they're structures, their corporate structure is not healthy and not sustainable. So their solution to that was to just ramp up the revenue by hundreds of percentage points. So,
Right.
but I mean, yeah, but so I mean, it's still going to, it's just still too soon to say anything. But it's definitely, I think one thing is certain, and that is that this business model is not sustainable. It really isn't. And if you're going to do sports at this level with this kind of pizzazz and show, you might have to start thinking that maybe as much as Europeans turn up their nose and think that they're better than Americans and North Americans, maybe they should, if you're going to have this kind of, if you're going to have this kind of, if this is the kind of sports you want, then maybe you should look at what they do in North America, because that's a sustainable business model. It works, and it's been working for quite some time. I mean, everything from the NBA to the NFL to MLB to MLS, it's a sustainable business model long term. You have a salary cap, and you have, whether, closed and what, I'm not saying that that's the way to go, but it's definitely something that, you have to learn from one another. I think that's because it can't continue going like this. It's a bubble, and a bubble bursts eventually. And these inflated prices and these inflated wages and these ridiculous agent fees that just leave the game. And also, the television fees that, the television deals that just keep rising, that are supposed to cover for this, it's just not sustainable. So I think I think if we're going to avoid a bubble effect, I think we have to start looking in Europe a little bit too, as much as it may pain a lot of people in Europe, but I think maybe it's a good idea to start looking across the pond and learn a few things.
That's really well said. And this man does an excellent job on the Italian Football Podcast, which he hosts with Carlo Garganese, another dear friend of mine, and John Solano, who does an awesome job as well. And Nima also runs SempreInter.com. And whenever I can, I have the privilege of jumping on the Studio Inter podcast. Unfortunately, I've just had so many conflicts with the day job. But we'll do it again, Nima, at some point, because I love coming on that show as well.
Thank you so much, Alex. It's always a pleasure when you come on our show, and thanks for inviting me on your show.
Absolutely. Nima Tavale Rutsari. Have a good evening, sir, and let's hope we get a break from all the craziness for a couple days.
Yeah, I would like it if 2020 and 2021 took like a week off and let everyone just, catch their breath for 5 minutes. But yeah, thanks a lot, Alex. Good to be with you. Take care.
It's our pleasure. We'll wrap up this episode when we come back. Hey, remember, Sundays at 9 a.m., our good pal Juan Cardona dominates the airwaves with Juan on Juan. From sneakers to video games to your favorite South Florida team, tune in every Sunday to Juan on Juan, exclusively on the home for sports talk in South Florida, OnSideRadio.com.
The man of the match with South Florida's own Alex Donno. Weekdays 1 to 5 p.m. on the home for Inter Miami football, OnSideRadio.com.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Ashiro's work is never done. You care for the house, the kids, and our future. We're so grateful for all you do. Now, it's time to care for yourself and save a little more for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement savings now. Visit aceyourretirement.org today.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Parents, we know we can't protect our kids from everything. Eventually, they're going to bump their heads or scrape their knees. But we can protect them from 6 types of cancer. HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a common preventable virus that can cause cancer later in life. The HPV vaccine prevents human papillomavirus and all the cancers it can cause. The American Cancer Society recommends getting your sons and daughters the HPV vaccine starting at age 9 to protect them later in life.
This Saturday, Inter Miami CF visits the Philadelphia Union at Subaru Park.
And now Higuain trying to bend his run in behind. Flag is temporarily stayed down. Higuain is
Join OnSideRadio.com as we broadcast live from Dangerous Minds Brewing Company in Pompano. Our pregame broadcast watch party starts at 7 p.m. Game time is 8 p.m. Listen to all the games by going to our website at OnSideRadio.com and download any of our apps. Follow Inter Miami CF all year long on your home for football. OnSideRadio.com.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
You're listening to OnSideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnSideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. You're listening to this station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com, broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Best memories of the UEFA Super League era. Some of the craziest 48 hours of all time. You know, I was looking up fastest TV cancellations. Magic Johnson had a short-lived talk show, lasted like a couple of episodes. Chevy Chase, this was way before Alex Aguirre's time, but I'm sure you know who Chevy Chase is, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, Chevy Chase at one point in like the mid-90s maybe, they gave him a late-night talk show.
That was tough, especially in the 90s.
They promoted the hell of it. Like, I want to say, I don't know if it was on Fox or what, because it obviously, it definitely wasn't on NBC because they had The Tonight Show,
right.
And CBS, I think, already had Letterman at that point. So it might have been on Fox, whatever it was. They gave Chevy Chase a late-night talk show, and they promoted the hell of it. Like, I remember watching TV as a kid, and like every commercial break, it was like, oh, the Chevy Chase show is debuting, you know, whatever night. And then it lasted for a few days, and then they canceled his ass.
I got one for you.
What?
The Dana Carvey show. I think it lasted like 7 episodes, not even probably.
I vaguely remember that.
Not even like a full season or something like that. I think Joe Namath had his own talk show as well,
Really?
and that didn't last that long either.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Joe Namath had his own talk show for a bit.
Wow, Broadway Joe. It didn't last, eh? Wow. You know what show lasted longer than I thought it should have? Maybe they didn't cancel it that quickly because it was TBS, and like they don't operate quite as swiftly as like the major networks do.
What's up?
Do you remember Frank TV?
Oh my God, Frank Caliendo? Yes.
And the funny thing about it was, dude, Frank Caliendo, when used the right way, is hilarious. Like Frank Caliendo,
He's talented.
like he's really talented. But they gave him that talk show on CBS, and I think that this was before they had like Conan. So this was like TBS trying to dip their toe into the late night talk waters, like before they had
Lopez Tonight as well.
George Lopez. Although I got to admit, I actually kind of liked that show.
It brought a different flavor
I'm the
to
only
talk
person.
show.
Like I actually, because people used to just bash the hell out of George Lopez Tonight. And then I actually sat down once and watched an episode, and I actually thought he did a really good job.
He's not bad.
He's not bad.
He's not bad. I just think that it's so hard to compete with other. I think Leno was still going at the time.
Yeah.
So you're competing against these, and Letterman as well. He wasn't retired. So you're going against, extremely established veterans in the talk show world. So it's hard to, break through that. And I think Conan has just, since he's been around forever, he's been able to change networks and just, stay relevant.
And he got screwed. Like Conan got screwed over at NBC because because Jay Leno was going to retire, and so then they gave Conan the Tonight Show. And then like a month later, Jay Leno was like, no, you know what? I want to do the Tonight Show again. They're like, see ya, Conan. They really screwed him over. But no, going back to Frank Caliendo when he had Frank TV, the show was all wrong. It was like him like talking to the audience and then playing video clips. It was so hacky. Like basically it was like a bootleg version of Chappelle's Show was what it was. Like Chappelle's Show worked, okay? And you know what? Chappelle's Show didn't work because of the format, because the thing of him, like, talking to the audience and then throwing to video, like, it's cheesy, but Chappelle's Show was magnificent because the video clips were so good. Like, the sketches were incredible. You know, the Rick James, the one where he was a black white supremacist was some of the most brilliant comedy I've ever seen. Like, he was a black KKK member who didn't know he was black because he was blind. It was one of the most brilliant pieces of comedy ever. And this was in like 2003. So this was way ahead of its time, man. Like, Chappelle's Show was brilliant. So I pulled up a list of some of the fastest TV cancellations. Most of these shows I don't remember. So NBC had a show in 2011 called The Playboy Club. It was canceled in 3 episodes. It was a crime drama. That's weird. It didn't excite any male viewers of any demographic. Playboy magazine's short story selections and insightful interviews do more than enough for men. Thank you very much. The NBC drama's trailers were silly and had a soap opera at night feel that didn't win over many fans. The creative team, cast, and crew in promotion of the Playboy Club asserted the show aimed to empower women. Surely women across the country will feel inspired by watching women in skimpy fishnet outfits seducing and backstabbing their way through thin, ridiculous storylines in a 1960s nightclub is a fantastic show of feminism. Who knows? Susan B. Anthony might have loved this show. So I no recollection of this whatsoever. The Playboy Club actually lasted longer than the European Super League. Lucky 7 was a show on ABC in 2013, 1 episode. Don't remember that whatsoever. Made in Jersey was a show on CBS for 2 episodes in 2012. I don't remember that one bit. I do remember this. Osborne's Reloaded was on Fox in 2009, 1 episode. It was the second incarnation of Ozzy Osbourne's like reality show. The original version I guess was good, but second one, not so much. Do No Harm, an NBC show that lasted 2 episodes in 2013. Ooh, this one I remember as well. The Mike O'Malley Show, which only lasted 2 episodes on NBC. Mike O'Malley, he was the host of Global Guts on Nickelodeon, and he was on the CBS show Yes Dear, which I actually thought was kind of underrated. It was like the same block with like Everybody Loves Raymond and King of Queens, and I thought that Yes Dear was like kind of the forgotten show of that block. But it was really good. So, yeah, I missed that. Wow, a huge thanks to everyone who joined us in the chat today. Awesome stuff there from Tony, Rosendo, Bromar, Rafa, Mike No Go Zone stopped in, Ray, Rosendo, everyone who hopped in. I'm trying. Oh, NorCal Dolphin was in the early going. Herman. So awesome job. Thanks to everyone who tuned in today. Thanks to everyone who chatted with us. Thanks to Marla and the others on the text line. You guys want to make sure if you send us a text, if you don't mind, sign the text with like your first name or your nickname. If you have an alias or if you have a you want to throw us, I don't need to know your social security number or anything, but if you throw us like a name, sign the text, and that way we can give you a shout out. We can have fun with that. So really fun show today. We will talk to you guys again tomorrow, same time, 3 to 6 p.m. here on Onside Radio. And hey, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m., Sean Stanley hosts the Squared Circle Digest. Now wrestling fans have a place to call home as Sean covers the very colorful world of wrestling. Tune in every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. on the home for sports fans worldwide, OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to the flagship station of Inter Miami CF, OnsideRadio.com. Follow us on social media at Onside Radio.
Hey, it's Big O for EJD Construction, your custom home builder, additions and home remodeling. Our lives have changed. We're making our homes more of an oasis. Call the right place. Call the right people. Eric at EJD Construction for over 16 years. A-rated member of Angie's List in the Better Business Bureau. 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com. For over 20 years, Mr. Glass has been committed to the safety and satisfaction of our clients. Our products are the culmination of innovative engineering, aesthetic appeal, and the highest levels of quality. Through our legacy, Mr. Glass strives to impart the true meaning of quality, service, and sustainability to new generations. Reputation, experience, and trust is why clients choose Mr. Glass. Live the future now. Locate a dealer near you today.
To get in the zone. The Onside Zone.
And look, man, I don't care if you're my wife. If I don't agree with you, I'm going to say it. You know what I mean?
The Onside Zone.
He's a liar. And there's nothing new about that. He's full of crap. If you're believing that, I got a bridge in the Keys. It's the one on the right side. Just want you to know, when you're going south, you'll see the smaller bridge on the right. I've got that one for sale if you're interested.
You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
That's the one boy band that I will say, dude, I'll stand up for Boys to Men every day of the week and twice on Sundays. Love those guys.
You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's